Well, good luck.
I think Beth Friedman got as far as the in-person screening once.
Yeah, she's tried several times to get on the show. On
It is not
the
easy.
online test.
Well, I think you'd make an interesting guest if that makes a difference.
If they're looking for testimonials, I'll make sure that
I doubt that they would find mine a convincing testimonial. However, do you know Brian Hurt?
I do not.
Okay. I'm not sure where he is now, but Brian Hurt and his gang down in Iowa knew a fellow that is now an actor in Hollywood, and maybe something could be done there to give you a leg up.
Oh no, they're very. You have to pass 2 50 question quizzes. Plus a mini version of the show.
Okay.
Plus an interview.
Okay.
And
Well, I can understand the interview because they don't want someone that'll just freeze under the cameras.
right. Yeah, they don't want or someone who is incredibly dull. You know, I can answer questions really well, but I have absolutely no personality.
Yes, I do it in a monotone at all times and never get excited by anything.
Yeah, some acting ability is useful in order to show emotion.
A little flamboyance. Yeah. Well, emotion's not difficult. Most of them are panic. However,
Some personality should show up.
yes.
They want personality. I do not think I would make a good contestant.
I know I wouldn't. 100% certain. No doubt whatsoever.
Anyway.
And I happen to find one of the basic premises of the show
Objectionable?
one of the most annoying of all classic game shows. Their idea of phrasing something as a question to someone who was raised by an English teacher is wince-worthy.
Yes.
I don't see how it's a problem. I don't see how it's a problem.
Because often they are not phrasing it as a question. They are putting what was or who is or some other two-word phrase on the beginning of a long statement and a question mark at the end, and not going over the sentence to ask if it actually makes grammatical sense.
They don't care about grammatical sense.
Yeah, and I can't not care about grammatical sense. If I am conscious enough to read or hear words, I care about grammatical sense. It's not.
So if you're really drunk, maybe then you wouldn't care.
I am sorry for everything you have to read from me.
What level of English?
Elementary school and junior high mostly, but she's very pro reading both as a mother and as a teacher. I started reading early and internalized the structure of proper English grammar, even though I didn't know all the terminology for expressing it when we got to that in my English classes. But I don't.
My mom was a one-room school teacher, and when they started being phased out, and she went to get a college degree, well, certificate for elementary. So, yeah, there are some things I hear them and go, I know that's wrong, but I have no idea why.
Or I know that's wrong, I can rephrase it so it works, but I can't give you the correct vocabulary for what's wrong with it and how I,
And
how to
always,
describe my fix.
and always use the Oxford comma.
I have a
Never.
deeper opinion on that than some people, but there are, it's agreement of number or lack thereof that is one of my personal bugaboos, beyond such basics as homonyms and use and misuse of apostrophes.
Well, the Oxford comma makes a difference if it's in a legal document.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I have no desire for first-hand experience on that front, I assure you.
I find it amusing that the arbiter of the written language, the AP standard, has eliminated doubled letters for such things as canceled, labeled, etc. Pavilion has lost an L.
Interesting.
Okay.
That does.
But they still support the Oxford comma. AP really only cares about cutting the cost of printing things.
Ah. That's odd. The way labeled makes sense to me with only one L at the end, and it wouldn't occur to me. It would never have occurred to me to take out the second L on canceled, and I can't articulate why the difference. It's just one case I go, sure, why not? And the other case I go, no, that's just wrong.
Well, their position is that if the second syllable is not stressed, then the doubled L is not
So they
necessary.
have a reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
They have a
They have
they have a
rationalization.
defensible
I was about to say
Rationalization.
rationalization.
Yes.
The word pavilion does not fit this because the second syllable is stressed.
Furthermore, it's a borrowing from French, and in French it would absolutely have to have that double L.
Mhm.
So,
And they have a committee to make sure it stays.
yeah.
The French.
Oh, yes.
Which one branch of linguistics finds silly because the written language is always behind the spoken language.
What I find interesting is I think it was Bill Moyer started doing a TV series on the origins of English.
Mhm.
And before that, he was a fairly harsh language Nazi. And then he found out just what a hodgepodge
The history
Frankenstein
is,
monster
yes.
the language is. And he did an interview about the series and admitted that, yes, I became much more relaxed about it.
Stuff like where the rule against split infinitives comes from.
I love
Attempting to codify Latin.
Well, attempting to make English as much like Latin as possible,
Yes.
whether it makes sense or not.
I love the different words for the meat versus the animal.
Yes, that's historically fun. Oh, sideways jump. Speaking of history, is anybody such a computer gaming history nut that they would like a manual from the World of Warcraft computer game from 16 years ago?
No.
If nobody here wants it, do you know anyone else who would find it amusing? I can just pitch it in recycling if nobody cares, but I thought I'd ask around. Sort of a historical artifact.
Of the
Sorry
most
for the
popular
digression.
gaming.
Yeah, it is. I mean, people are still playing World of Warcraft in some form or another.
Actually, I
Not
think
that
it was last year they re-released like the original World of Warcraft. They put it out on servers for people to play.
Mhm. Next stop may be the recycling bin, but we shall see. Just thought sorry to derail.
Well, you could always put it up on eBay.
Let's see.
Yes, you can have it if you'll pay me the shipping costs. Seriously, see if anybody bites.
Well, it is printed material, so you can get a discount just dropping it in the mail.
It wouldn't cost all
There
that
is still
much
a
to
book,
mail
right?
it. Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, you lose money selling LPs online.
I can easily believe that.
Want some LPs?
Hmm?
Want some LPs?
No, I have plenty of my own.
Yeah. And, mine divide relatively easily into, I want this, I don't give, I don't give whatever you use to mean not giving much of anything, rat's ass or such. It can go to St. Vincent's, and I'll have to listen to it before I can decide.
Okay, so it claims in the index that Alien Companion is on 475. It actually starts on 476. Wow.
I bet if you look at the file, you'll find that the tag that marks the beginning of the entry is
Yeah, according to the file, it's on 475. No, it isn't. There are no letters or punctuation of it that is on 475. I'm just looking at Alien Companion because Steve claims that he's thinking about getting a Shoggoth as an alien companion.
If there's an alien companion stunt, I would think that.
I think I'd really prefer to go for something that wouldn't be interested in eating me.
Mhm.
Or if something that would be interested in eating me, potentially, at least something where we've got more of a common frame of reference, like an earth mammal. I'd much rather deal with a tiger or a black leopard than a Shoggoth.
Yeah, this is the point.
I understand their body language better. The
You
point
want to drive Professor Simpson into a catatonic state?
Nah, I think he doesn't care about Professor Simpson one way or the other. He'd just like to sick a Shoggoth on some of the bad guys. Which, like it or
There'd be
not,
no-
gives
there'd
you
be
something
no-
in common with the deep ones.
There'd be no evidence of the crime.
No grave site, no bones to study later. That's a point.
Maybe some fillings, but
Yeah.
Any metal items that the person had on their body would still be around.
University of Michigan has a computer and video game archive.
So, we'll get back to a Soaring Hawaii.
Oh,
yes.
Yes, we have made it to Hawaii.
Oh, have we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we were just.
Were you
We
not
had
paying attention last
we
week?
had made
We
an
just
attempt
got
to
near the Big Island.
locate the antenna overnight at like
Mhm.
2 a.m. or so this to
Oh,
minimize
yes,
the
yes,
risk
now I
of
remember.
and it was harder than anticipated.
Not harder than I anticipated.
Well, fine.
So,
Oh, there it is. Arrived at Hawaii.
So I believe it's early morning now.
yes.
like after midnight, but before the sky starts getting light, or is
No,
it after
like
sunrise?
around breakfast time.
Okay.
I'm not certain because I don't keep that good of notes.
It might then actually be the 25th. What date do you think it is?
The 25th.
Okay.
Oh, and we found out out more about the nature of truth.
Well, or at least those of us who can translate a particular.
No, I gave a
No,
translation
yes.
out.
Annie had read the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
Got depressed.
Well,
No,
I'm not sure she understands it all.
she did the translation. She double-checked the translation. She gave a copy of the translation to John Doe.
Right.
And she went through it herself and said, okay, what does this really mean? And it was at that stage that it became interesting. We are evidently a projected reality. They went through a number of proofs to show that we can't be a base reality. And
Well, not only that, but there might not be a base reality.
Oh, I wasn't sure if they had assumed the existence of a base reality.
No, they said they're not sure.
They're not
There
okay.
it might actually be a ring
Okay.
of realities.
So there.
Well,
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that it's
I
possible
remember
that it could be the case that you go down and
Eventually, you find another reality that is quantum identical to this reality, and therefore you must say, well,
Do they
we're back to
use
our own reality.
Quantum identical.
They,
Are
that's
they
not the
into
particular
quantum
word they
theory?
use, but yes, I mean they
Okay.
say yes, down to that level. Has to be
'Cause-
identical for you to say you're back to the same reality.
In the 20s, did we even have quantum theory?
Oh yeah.
These are aliens. They're,
Yes.
And
They don't care about the
and
era of the
we had-
1920s.
we had general relativity, so they always had basically there's no such thing as a preferred frame of reference. It doesn't exist.
I don't have
Okay.
anything for you. Why are you staring at me?
That's a somewhat different question.
Quantum
though.
theory
You
is
can
a
always
collection of
differ.
results from 1900 to 1925, predating modern quantum mechanics.
And in general relativity, you can always, for convenience, declare that you're at rest and describe all other motions in relation to you if you wish to do so. It's not always the best solution, but you have that option.
You didn't understand what I said. I said there was no privilege.
Okay, granted. Why, I guess a lot of people's question would be, why do you need a privileged frame of reference? You do
Because-
whatever works best.
That was how it's the only way that ether works.
Huh. Yeah, so
If you have a-
use it.
So basically, it doesn't exist because
I like the Michelson-Morley experiment. One of the most informative failures as a scientific experiment.
No kidding. Detected
They,
nothing at all.
no, they had a theory,
Yeah, oh,
and
sure.
they proved the theory was absolutely wrong.
Yes.
They didn't get the results they expected. It was a very important negative result.
Yes.
You can't prove the non-existence of ether if its properties are sufficiently weird. But,
or if it doesn't exist.
well, right.
That's another reason.
But
why
you
couldn't
can't
discover
prove
it.
its non-existence. You can only say if it does exist, its properties are so weird they seem self-contradictory, and physics can get along fine without it.
Anyway, in addition to that, there is no single objective reality.
Yeah.
Ah.
When John Doe
Yes.
gets to actually analyzing it, it's going to be a interesting.
Yeah, because he had always assumed that there was a single truth, that there was something that was truth.
I can understand that.
But apparently there's
Popular
not,
assumption.
at least in this universe.
Or at least this is what those aliens believe. We don't know what led them to that.
It was
They-
a logical and mathematical proof.
Yes.
Your logic is only as good as your premises. Advanced aliens can still be wrong.
It's possible for them to have made a mistake in their math or their axioms. But
But they had included Gödel's theorem in
Their version of it.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So they realized that there is self-contradiction
yeah.
or unprovable theorems.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and they think it's provable that there is no one objective reality, and they've proved it.
Yes.
Oh, they, they have also proven that this is a projected reality.
Yes, they did that with various experiments with space-time. But anyway, so that was an interesting development that
Yeah.
Annie revealed to everyone.
And I
And
expect
the Zen Buddhist said, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Simon had great
Sounds
fun
right.
reading it.
Because a lot of it seemed to be pointing in the direction of mysteries as a sort of scientific endeavor.
And Annie quit advancing in the message about the time that she detected that it was going that way.
Yeah.
She wasn't ready for that yet.
Anyway,
back
so
to
we're above Hawaii,
We're above Hawaii,
above the big islands. Yes.
and looking for radio transmitter masts to start with, because that's
Well, I can give you the general properties we're looking for in a radio transceiver, and if your science is high enough, that'll actually help you. Otherwise, you have gross dimensions. It is likely to be this big.
Does someone desperately need to be played with?
just out of curiosity. I have science in average. Is there anyone other than Annie that does better than that? I
It
don't.
depends on if we're looking at science or engineering, because I think
Science.
your
Oh,
engineering
yeah,
is better than that,
Jack's
Engineering's better.
engineering is a lot better. I think
But
it's
not
good.
science, though.
but not science. Okay.
Wow, that sounded
That takes
exciting for a dog.
Does not understand word in hand.
See, I have science in average so that my medical skill is good.
Yeah.
Superb, isn't it?
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're actually tied on that one.
Yeah.
And then Jack has significantly better engineering, but his science is at mediocre. And Simon comes at things his own unique way and just doesn't care about
Yeah.
science or
yes.
engineering viewpoint. Doesn't even necessarily care about the sanity of scientists or engineers if they try too hard to figure out what he's up to.
So are
Well,
we?
he does have a certain sympathy for Annie as much as he tweaks her.
Doesn't seem like it. Okay, so we're looking. Is that what
Yeah.
we're doing?
We're
We have
looking.
binoculars or a telescope. I'm sure Annie has multiple telescopes on and you've got your goggles.
Yep.
If it gives me a higher bonus than just a pair of binoculars, I will borrow a telescope and look out.
And evidently I'm distracted.
That seems likely. Still worried
Well,
about
you
the
found your
nature of
shoes.
No, I believe I made it up to average.
Yes. That's why I'm not
achieving-
saying that you were looking through a telescope with the lens cap on.
I made it up to fair.
Oh wow! Okay, you
found
can
both
see
shoes.
Hawaii.
That's sufficient. Yeah, there's a lot of ground down there.
I like the explanation of evidently Annie got distracted.
Yeah. All right. Well, did somebody do better than
I
fair?
got-
You got fantastic.
Fantastic.
I got fantastic.
You got fantastic.
I got legendary plus whatever bonus the telescope gives me. If it were binoculars, it'd be plus one and awe-inspiring. If I get anything better for better optical equipment, it'd be higher.
Probably not.
No,
Okay,
it's
then it's awe-inspiring.
it's all. Is that all?
Oh, he's
Only
that's
roll
enough to
plus
actually
one.
see through some of these camouflage. Probably.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Um,
If I had any inkling of what sort of camouflage had been used, I might try to tag that, but
But we have no information.
we have no such information. Yes.
Yes.
Not a forest
Yesterday
lead in the
we
dark,
were also,
even though
or
it's
last
early
game we
morning.
were also discussing whether it would be in a volcano. With
That
the
would
pool
be
that
a
drains and the doors that open.
that would be a very mad scientist thing to do, but someone might have, shall we say, more modest resources than that sort of setup would require.
No. That's not mad scientist. That's evil genius. There's
Okay,
a difference.
Granted. Don't have to be a scientist necessarily.
Yes.
You could be a
I
genius
would
of some
say
other
evil
sort.
mastermind.
If
Yes.
if it was rendered invisible through force fields,
That would be mad
that would
scientist.
be mad scientist. Okay, so
If it was guarded by dinosaurs, either just brought forward in time by time travel or created by genetic engineering.
yes.
That would be mad scientist.
So there is a large forested area to the east of the big volcano on the main island.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of near the center of it, there are things that sort of look like trees.
But upon sufficiently close examination, don't look enough like trees to
They're
convince me.
definitely radio antennas disguised as trees.
I will.
That sounds like what we're looking for. If they disguised them like that, then yes.
No. Someone using a big transmitter for honest and above board
Personally,
purpose
I
would
would've just
put up an antenna.
Used real trees and carved it.
Yes, but you're talking mad scientist again to make a tree into an actual.
That just takes sufficiently patient
you were just carving it into the. As opposed to somehow converting a real tree into a transmitter.
Genetically modifying the tree to conduct.
No,
radio
modifying
signals.
the sap. So the sap becomes a radio
electrically
transmitter.
conductive. Oh yeah, that's
Well, so none
That's
of those.
science.
they're not that smart.
So none of those are. This is just.
I now know what Annie is distracted by. What
What if they actually? I mean, there's a big forest right there. What if some of those trees are actually radio antennas?
Modified to act as radio antennas
Yes.
by making the sap active and.
So,
However-
But no,
No,
these are
those-
just radio antennas
antennas
disguised
disguised
as
as
trees.
That's too mundane.
Not everybody is going to convert a tree into a radio
Sal's a
antenna.
mad scientist.
It doesn't really take. It doesn't take huge amounts of skill to make a radio antenna look like a
Like a
tree.
But it would have taken more skill than they had to make it look like enough like a tree to fool me, apparently. So let's.
Well,
go
you
take
got
a look.
awe-inspiring.
That was with a +1. I could have rolled higher.
Yes, well, you got awe-inspiring. You're
So-
off the normal track.
Yes.
Can we,
Take a
oh
closer
great
look.
awe-inspiring investigator, can you tell where the Radio Shack is?
It's got to be sort of near the antennas, I would think.
Better yet, where are the guard posts?
I'm working my way out.
Okay.
And
'Cause-
then, is there a mansion here?
There's no giant mansion, no.
Um,
There are buildings in the forest, but
Yep.
Once I've spotted
Yeah.
the type of camouflage, then I check that vicinity more carefully for other stuff that's
And we
camouflage.
come
or
down
anything.
yeah, I mean, you were
Yeah.
looking for the antennas, you found the antennas.
Not necessarily lower, but closer.
Yeah.
Closer.
Well, that.
Welcome
one
to
is
Stay Nice and
godlike.
High.
Okay, so
focus sounds.
there's a hill
That's not really a hill.
that's probably actually a building covered in dirt and sort of other
Sodded over.
yeah. It looks
So it's
like
technically a real hill, but it was built comparatively recently.
yes. And it's sort of in the middle of there's three different trees out in here, which are radio antennas, and
then
it's sort of in the middle of the three of them.
And then a hill that's just got something wrong about the shape
Well, there's-
of it and the quality
There's no
of the
trees
ground.
growing out of it.
So either somebody cleared it recently and kept it clear, or somebody built it
Yes.
recently as far as the vegetation.
Boy, this would be expensive to put together.
Yeah, although maybe less expensive than your idea.
I mean, yeah, it would cost money. It wouldn't cost like Simon level money.
There's that.
Especially since some of it some of it you could use cheap labor instead of money. If you could import people who would do digging and building because you say so.
Yeah.
And then you kill them afterwards, you have to pay them.
If you kill them afterwards, you don't have to pay them. Yes, that is true.
But
Unfortunately, some people do work that
it
way.
makes it hard to.
I think Sal would work that way.
Depends on
Maybe.
who he imported.
Yeah, but he probably first made more of the giraffe suit first, and then eventually.
So you have spotted something that's almost certainly the building
Mhm.
that is attached to these three antennas.
Okay. Well, then I guess the question is not do we take a closer look, but how do we take a closer look?
So the question is there a underground layer here? Underneath
Technically,
this?
what's under that hill is underground.
But there could be more under that. That's a good question.
Yeah, you
It's like
can't
a-
really tell if they dug deeper or
How,
something.
It
how
could-
about if we go like 2 miles out from there, drop to the ground, and investigate?
Fine.
Sneak in.
Fine with me.
There's two things are going to happen. Either what we're looking for is underneath that mound, and go really deep, or it's going to be some repeater.
Mhm. Whether it's a
Well, there's
purely
3
elect-
antennas, so
Yeah.
and this is a great place to broadcast to other areas. I mean,
True. It could be a
They could
purely
repeat
electronic
it to-
repeater. It could be something that has 1, 2, 3 operators, depending on how they do it. And
they probably have an operator because they have a reply that they make, and it didn't. Well, I guess I should ask: did it seem like precisely the same timing of reply and everything? Or were there minor variations that would indicate the human?
You would say human, yeah.
Okay.
It
Probably
wasn't
human.
fully automated.
that means that probably means there will be people there who know something.
Yeah,
That
but
would be-
yeah, the way things are going, they'll probably just once they see us, they'll probably jump off a building or something.
Well, there's no buildings to jump off of, but they could climb a tree and jump off a tree.
You might be able to keep them from doing that. That would take a few minutes.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. If I were building a repeater here, I wouldn't waste the time building a hill over it.
Mm.
You would just build a shack
Yeah,
in the woods.
you could make a very innocuous looking, dilapidated old shack that would not inspire most people to
And it would be
investigate
cheaper.
closely.
I don't think money is an object here.
You're almost certainly
No.
correct.
Well, if it's
Yes,
Sal,
yes,
I mean,
so
you know the
resources
mansion that he
might
was
be-
living in was
Yeah.
and he was
Nice.
paying off all sorts of government officials.
Yep.
He obviously had money.
But I think it's plausible that that hill has something of use or interest under it more than the equivalent of a small radio station. Don't know that, it merely feels likely enough to go up.
Yeah, well, we get close enough for him to send your companion in to take a look.
I'm fine with that. I expect he'll be fine with that. And, you know, if he notices any really out of the ordinary mystery stuff, he may get more cautious, but unless and until that happens, sure.
He notices anything mysteries, I don't even want him to proceed.
As I
Yeah,
recall,
that's probably a good idea.
this guy believed in cursed gems.
Well, ill did. I don't.
Didn't we find cursed gems, the things that you called cursed in the warehouse that was hidden in the sub-basement?
I don't remember that level of detail, I'm afraid. I remember finding the
Scott has to go
sub-basement
get
and
older.
exploring it, but
Information.
that would be worth knowing, because if he has any...
Well, let's land and
yes.
stealthily proceed.
Okay, make your stealth roll.
What time of day is this?
Morning.
Morning, it's like 7 a.m. It's
Yeah.
very early for you.
Do you want to
So-
do this in the daylight, or you want to wait till night?
What are we going to do during the day?
The longer we wait, the more chance of someone happening to
Yeah,
notice
I mean,
us
you weren't doing
somehow.
visual inspections at night. Let me just say that.
But if it's for early morning and there's still a lot of shadows among the trees, we can get there
Well,
pretty stealthily.
I mean, Jack just likes to use stealth at night because he gets a bonus. You can't get that bonus when it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Grant.
Alone in a crowd. That would get me up to godlike.
Yes, you really needed to spend that fate point.
-2 for being sunlight.
Yeah.
So it's legendary.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very good. All right, so
And
In the vault is a lot of Templar treasures. Find a cursed gem in the vault. Find a circlet that is interesting. Simon says it gives leadership when leading into combat. This should be the night that we penetrated the
mansion.
mansion.
Question is, did he just have it because it was valuable, or did he know about its properties?
Do you have a
That we
date,
don't know for sure.
either real or game?
Morning of the 5th, we were still dealing with Denoy. Wednesday the 6th, I would guess 7th or 8th. And I don't know which month. Yeah.
Is that real time or
That is
Game
game
time.
time.
So,
The mere fact it's morning proves it's game time.
so
So probably
as we're walking in, I'm gonna just make sure there aren't anything like tire traps, strip wires,
Yes.
kind of thing that
probably June of 23.
people can also help me on this one.
I'm going to believe
They better, because I'm rolling terrible.
And, I
Everything's
don't
always
have
negative.
your engineering knowledge, but I can look for tripwires or any other trap that has a visible trigger to it. Yeah, that would be awe-inspiring for me.
no, you don't find any troubles.
yeah?
You do. Let's see.
You put it in a necklace with such tangible aspect of cursed gem.
What finally happened to it? I don't even recall. It was in Annie's purse for a long time because she didn't believe in curses.
If memory serves me correctly,
We gave it to someone?
kind of.
Kind of? Okay.
Well, you see, we got back. We cleaned out Fat Sal's basement.
Right.
And we stored it in the sub-basement of in a sub-basement at Century Club.
and somebody came along and borrowed that stash, cursed necklace and all.
Cursed gem and all.
Yes, cursed. Yeah, sorry.
Now, not going to be triggerable until set.
Ah, interesting.
Until when?
Until it's set as a loose
set.
gem that
Right.
it's a latent curse. It needs to be in a setting to do anything. I'm not quite sure why it would work that way, but I'm not gonna question Simon's judgment about something like that.
Excuse me. So, as you're moving towards the hill, I mean, you started out 2 miles away.
Yeah.
At one point, you cross a sort of meandering trail.
Mm-hmm.
It looks probably it was just mostly used by animals, but because you're examining everything so minutely,
Mm-hmm.
you notice
Yes.
you notice that there are also bicycle tracks
Ah.
on that trail.
I will make a note of the tread pattern just in case we encounter bicycle tracks in some out of the ordinary place elsewhere on the island.
Was there any sort of village or larger area within biking distance that we noticed?
So you landed about 2 miles from the hill, about 2 miles further east. Yes, there's a town,
A small town.
a small town.
Likely someone biking from that small town in to work at the installation.
Or at least biking into that town to get supplies.
Okay.
Plausible.
The town of Mountain View apparently is just east of the forest.
Or if it meanders like that,
Mm-hmm. It could be someone patrolling a perimeter on a
Mhm.
bicycle. Now, right now, I don't think we want to, spread out enough to see exactly where the path goes and whether the bicycle tracks stick to it the whole way. We're
yeah.
going for the hypothetical center of whatever importance this has to whoever built it.
So, okay, I just want to show you something here.
Uh-huh.
That's what the trail looks like from.
From an aerial view
Aerial.
with current technology. Yes. Yes.
That's what I mean by
yeah.
meandering.
Yeah.
You can tell it is not a straight trail at all.
It's not a straight line, but it also doesn't loop or curve.
Yeah.
It goes,
goes
straight-ish,
with the
allowing
contour
for
of
the
the land, I
contours of the
imagine.
land
Mm-hmm.
to off towards that town.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
So-
and we could have seen that from the air. And
Someone
presumably
bikes
seen
on a
it.
game trail.
Yes.
Beats the crap out of biking through a forest.
Yeah, you
With
really
no
don't want to
trail,
try to bike
yeah.
through just a general forest area. It's painful.
You sound like you're talking from experience.
Yeah, I tried to go off trail before on a bicycle. I did not enjoy it.
Brush with thorns, nettles,
Yeah.
poison ivy.
I never hit nettles or poison ivy, fortunately. But
Lucky for you.
Yeah,
I have a
but yes.
cousin who did.
branches hitting you in the face and
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Palm trees.
so that I wanted to give you a general idea of what I meant by meandering.
Yeah. Meandering, but sort of purposefully in a mostly
Yeah, it's like
direction.
it's
What it
some sort of
says
game
is the
trail.
space isn't totally cut off from
Mm-hmm.
the surrounding area.
Good.
I think. Of course, and again, they're probably the best employers in the area, so
Maybe.
it's possible they are viewed as the good guys.
Could be. It depends whether they need a lot of people or just got, two or three radio guys who draw straws to see who bicycles in to get groceries.
So we're continuing to move towards the hill.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no traps apparent.
And no surveillance that we've noticed.
Yeah, nothing of that sort.
So I remember he liked buried bunkers protecting his
That's
estate.
true.
I do recall
Yes,
that.
sort of
yeah.
like pop-up bunkers. Yeah.
So when we get closer, we should definitely look for things like that.
We should
but
start
we should-
looking
You're
for
right,
things like
Yeah.
Okay.
because we don't know his idea of what a good, how big a good defensive perimeter should be.
well, I would guess that his definition of a good defensive perimeter changed after last time.
That's all I got. Looking for.
Godlike for
All right, so you're sort of within viewing distance of the hill.
Mhm.
I mean, it's off there. I can see a hill.
right.
But
I'm looking for pop-up on pillowboxes, that kind of
Where?
did you not see the hill?
Actually, no, I got superb. So.
Okay. Well, you see the hill then.
Okay.
All right, goggles.
Yeah, I'm cheating.
Oh, that's fine.
Using stunts or gadgets is perfectly within the rules of the game. It is not cheating.
It's why they're there.
In game, it isn't cheating.
Yes.
In character, you would
Okay, whatever.
phrase it as I'm cheating. I'm using
He's using
scientific
advanced technology that not everybody would even understand, let alone
Yes.
have.
So you don't see any of those things. You do see what is obviously disguised as it must be a hatch. It's about the size of a hatch, and it's right sort of on the bottom of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got camouflage on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't see it because it's much smaller than a hill or a tree.
Right. And at
And it's
base-
well camouflaged.
right at the base of the hill and probably partially hidden by trees or shrubbery.
Yes.
Or yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, that you see that. There, that is almost certainly the entrance to the thing. And no, you wouldn't see that. That's not there. Yeah, it's big enough for a man to enter.
Mm.
I mean,
And a camouflage job that would probably have Edgy saying, "Not bad,
not
good
bad.
enough to
You
fool
know,
me, but
not gonna.
bad.
Yeah, and not,
Not good
well,
enough to fool Jack."
Jack, who just got godlike on his investigation.
Given what you were looking for, was that straight investigation or was it aided by engineering?
investigation. Well,
Yes, I hear you.
well,
You're
actually,
just
I did
ignoring
tag
him.
that I knew what I was looking for. That was plus 2.
Anyway, so yes, you saw something. It does not look like it's a pop-up bunker or anything like that.
So how close do we want to get before I send a probably indetectable, certainly harder to detect than any of us except by certain mysteries tricks scout ahead of us?
No.
If the hill
No,
was
he
in,
is less detectable.
I can't get inside though.
We'd have to open the structure somehow. Whereas
The dead guy can go right through it.
Ahmed, the
His name is not Ahmed.
He is the
He was
dead
a
guy.
British explorer.
No, actually, he
Oh,
was.
so he's Egyptian?
Yeah.
Oh,
he was
okay.
Egyptian. I don't think his name was Ahmed, but it
no,
was,
that's too Arab. Not
yeah.
That's there, but
Whereas he was actually of a
Suleiman.
secret line of people who were still secretly following old Egyptian religion, pretending to be Coptic Christians if they needed to, but really worshiping the old gods.
Okay. So, yes, I mean, you guys, well, yeah, can't get in there without opening the door, whereas his spirit companion, who doesn't really exist, obviously, and is just in Edgy's head.
It's obviously some variety of extrasensory perception.
That I've got a delusion structure to explain how it works. Yes, we've already had this conversation.
Anyway, he can enter without actually opening a door.
So the question
If
is
the door is at zone 0, we want to be at zone 1. Because that way if a bomb goes off, we're not in the same zone.
I could even argue for zone 2 if we want to be a little tall.
No, I want to be close enough that I can move fast enough to get in there.
Okay, I hear you.
All right, so you're sending your spirit companion.
As soon as we're
And you did stealth us?
right.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
you're all hushed.
hush.
But the dead guy doesn't count.
No, but on the other hand, to ordinary physical perceptions, he can be completely
Talk about
invisible.
undetectable. A spirit companion who's been hushed.
Yes,
I don't know that Jack can do that.
I don't think he can. His stealth, Simon or
I can do it to other
possibly
people.
could.
Yeah, but he's not a person.
But he has
I
the
can argue with
mysteries
you.
enough to detect it.
I don't think so. I
Okay.
don't think I'd give it to him.
Okay.
Simon or I, especially Simon, could probably come up with something to make him extra stealthy temporarily, but I'm not going to
No.
try it right now under field.
He'd have to carry it or something like that. I mean, it would be.
area effect that we could somehow attach to him.
No, can't attach to him.
No.
There's nothing to attach to.
Not physically.
Yeah, I mean, you could make a circle where if he's in it, he's undetectable. You could, because he can do physical, you could give him a ring that he could carry.
Right, but then there'd be
He has
a
to
ring
keep- he has to
floating around.
And he has to
Oh
keep
my-
spending energy to do that.
Yeah.
Pulling out of the ring.
So anyway,
Yeah.
but normal stealth does not stealth mysteries things.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
so that's an interesting problem to think about for the future. But meanwhile,
Oh, and by the
you
way,
go in and scout.
Shoggoth are too stupid to be able to cooperate with stealth. So if you have a Shoggoth companion,
There'd be a Shoggoth wandering around.
Yes.
Even if the rest
you could
of
be
us were
stealth
off.
and he would be like wandering off.
They'll follow command. That's fine. We're going to shoot at the show off and I'll shoot at them.
Well, yeah. Anyway, so
Yes, I'm sending my spirit.
what are your instructions for him? He needs to know what it is that you want him to do. You can
First-
point and say, "There's the door. Go
Right.
in that. Go through that door."
Actually, going through the wall near the door would be even more prudent.
Okay.
Scout the passageway past that wall till
Right,
you get to
is-
something interesting back in the park.
Also,
I need to define interesting a little better, but you were saying,
okay. Also, you want to tell him if there's any mysteries things in there.
yeah,
Any
Any-
devices on the door, on the wall,
that
any
he
circles.
can easily check for, and that's why I said go through the wall near the door just
Mhm.
in case.
Also, tell me how the door is secured. Tell me if there's any guards.
I
Tell me
was
if there's
thinking
any
guards,
interior
believe me.
doors. Tell me if
mhm.
these guards have got telephones. They got radios. And if there's,
He's
Now,
not as
now
good with
remember, he has no
technological
engineering skill whatsoever.
But
he knows what a radio looks like, and he knows what a telephone.
He knows
looks
what a
like.
telephone normally looks
Yes.
like. Yes. And I can ask him to, if there are any guards to look for other electronic gear in their immediate vicinity. He can look for things that that have wires and parts that he doesn't really understand because when he
And
was
if they have
alive,
people
he
there,
did
if they have
science and
animals there,
engineering,
have
both
guard
at
dogs.
mediocre. Yeah.
Okay,
Showed
so
up.
he goes in through the wall next to the door.
Do I need to make a roll
That's-
for
that's-
him,
that's
or
my-
is this
that's my
too routine
genius.
to worry about?
It's this is
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's not doing intense investigation. He's not looking for anything other than obvious traps.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And how many humans and where are they? Are
Right.
there guard dogs or other animals, etc.?
so he goes,
Mm-hmm.
he comes back.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a big metal door with like some sort of a wheel-based opening.
Locking mechanism
Yeah.
that takes more strength more than anything else.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't take. I mean,
Right.
normal
Right.
humans can open this
Yes.
door and it, close it up from the other side.
But it's not some finicky combination thing. You
There's
just turn
also
a wheel.
yeah, there is a lock on the door. It looks like a normal key lock.
Okay.
Then there's stairway. It's kind of a fairly short stairway that goes down. There's a short corridor past that. Then there's another more normal metal door. And there's something mystery based about both the door and the wall area around that door.
So he didn't. Once, as soon as he noticed that, he did not poke in too closely, but came back.
I noticed the mysteries and went, okay, I don't know what that is. It looks like some sort of grid or something like that.
So trap or alarm of some sort, quite possibly, but we'll
Yeah,
have
and
to
that
get
and that
closer
second
to
door
it.
also has a lock on it. But
Okay.
and both locks look reasonably simple. They don't
Yeah.
look-
So you go in the first door and you're right at the top of a set of stairs.
yeah, it's a short set of stairs that just goes down
all
a
there
little
is.
bit, and then a corridor.
So this big metal door going to the outside world, that has a lock on it, right?
Yes,
And it has a key from the outside you can get into?
yes.
So
I mean, I didn't
presumably-
look at the lock mechanism, but it didn't
Right.
look like a
But
complicated lock.
he can tell us where the keyhole is. at
Oh yeah,
least, which
I
we
mean,
haven't spotted
once you
yet.
get to the door, you
It's pretty
just
obvious.
pull the camouflage up and
Ah.
go, oh, there it is.
Okay, I see. There's different ways it could have been camouflaged. Didn't realize it was something he could just pull aside.
Safe and adventure.
No.
They're not using that
key is
sort
in the
of
hollow
history
rock.
stuff.
Yes, of course. No, it's under the welcome mat. It's
Oh,
right
yeah,
in
yeah.
front of it.
Open says me.
They've got
Yes,
one under the welcome mat.
particularly
There's another one
effective
on
when
top of the door.
accompanied by a sledgehammer.
Let's look for purple. Yep. All right. So this is an average. The exterior lock is an average quality lock.
They're counting mostly on the camouflage.
Somebody look for traps and alarms.
On
Go
this
ahead.
store,
Yeah, go ahead.
there's always possibility of some mechanical or just plain sneaky thing subtle enough my companion didn't see it.
That's a nice roll.
Yeah. I'm going to listen for a moment with stethoscope. I don't expect to hear anything, but if there was anything electric or mechanical that's running, I'd probably hear it. That is focus sense bonus, awe-inspiring, or sighted hearing.
So you're examining the door.
The lock as
Yeah.
well.
The door and the lock.
Well, the
Yeah.
lock is part of the door.
Okay.
I'm not going to say you look at all of the door except the lock.
Oh, thank you.
And I got it good on engineering to try and see if there's.
Yes, there is an alarm on the door,
Okay.
or at least something that
Looks
is. Yeah, it's
like-
it's
It
it's.
is alarming. Yeah.
It is.
There will be an electrical connection that will be broken when you open the door.
Uh,
Ah, So they probably have someone watching a little light to see if
Well,
Or
you don't
maybe
have
it
to
just
stare at
rings
the
a
light,
nice
but
loud
yeah.
I would put it to a
loud
puzzle.
bell,
personally.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
So they have,
Yeah,
say if they have their iPad,
It doesn't. It looks like it's a fairly simple to bypass electrical alarm.
That would be probably
Remember me.
It's an engineering
I
rule.
can do it if you want. So that would be superb on the engineering roll.
Okay, this is a fair alarm. So what is that? 3 increments of time, or you could use some of the overflow for things other than time if you want. And
leaving no traces
That's
at
it.
all might not be a bad idea.
we'll say that would take normally 15 seconds. It's a simple alarm, so 15 seconds to bypass. What is that?
1/4 second.
1/4 second.
Yeah. So Annie
4
pulls
quarters
something
is
out of
good
her
enough.
purse
4
and
seconds
says,
is good
"Done."
enough.
Okay. So the rest is, I don't know. You're not leaving a trace.
Easy to retract on the run.
Okay.
So Edgy says, Annie ran a bypass.
Right. Anyway, so our alarm is bypassed.
The lock is
So much
open
of an
to good.
Hmm?
Got a good and on the
Okay,
good
so
roll.
that's 2 shifts on it.
Quiet.
So it takes you a whole second.
Or and I unlock it and very quietly and leave no marks whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
So basically, in less time than it took this conversation, I
Yes.
We've got the
bypassed
alarm
it.
bypass of the
Apparently, you had the alarm bypass ready.
We've had these.
Yeah, I mean it's
I'm sure we've
it's
been in
the
this sort of
same kind of alarm
situation.
you've seen many times before. So yes,
having a piece of wire the right length handy is a significant fraction of what you need.
So
Right.
The door going in or out? I'm going to assume in.
I was
No, it goes
It
out.
swings out because of structures. You don't want to
That'd
have.
also be easy. That'd also be safer in case of earthquake or landslide. The door
Well,
couldn't be crushed in by
Millen
something
structures
falling
are very seldom subject to OSHA safety.
yeah.
Yeah, but this is a volcanic island. I could see somebody being cautious about
If you're
that.
trying to be stealthy, though, you want to go in so you don't disturb the surroundings. And
This
you-
one goes out.
This
Okay.
one goes out.
Alright,
Okay.
that's all right.
So,
That's fine.
We're not the most clever villains in the
It
world.
and yeah, the camouflage is like attached to the door,
So it swings with the door.
it opens and closes, and the camouflage basically puts itself back in place.
So, open the door.
All right.
Creeps around and pull the door shut.
Okay, so one thing that for some reason his companion didn't mention, the stairs. You open the door, you look in. The stairs are all metal.
okay.
Gee, I'd
Might-
electrify those.
Maybe.
That might only happen if the alarm goes off, but hey, feel free to check. I would not discourage you from checking.
Is that engineering again?
Yeah.
So superb.
The second of the stairs has something associated. It doesn't. It's not electrified. So if you step on it,
There's
you're not going to
something-
die. But there's like
There's a pressure
there's a
plate
it,
or
yeah. It looks
something.
like if you put pressure on it, another alarm would go off.
Okay.
But it's
Redundant
easy to
alarm.
just step over that step.
How wide is the staircase?
You can walk down it 2 abreast if you want to.
Okay.
Well, given that, we should probably check the stairs as we continue down because
It's
more than
only a 4-step
Oh,
flight.
Okay.
As I said, it's a very short.
Okay, we
does
only
the
have
door lock itself again when it's closed?
No.
Or does it have to be manually
It
locked?
would have to
from
be
the inside?
manually locked.
So do we want to lock it or do we want to leave
it
it
makes
unlocked?
escape harder.
I was thinking.
I'll just kick it. And how difficult is it to unlock?
From
It
the
was fairly
inside.
easy to unlock.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
it's not
from the
difficult to
inside, it
unlock.
should be even easier. Okay.
I say we lock it.
Okay.
All right.
Another roll, I assume, but we want to keep.
I could see arguments in either
Yes.
direction. I wasn't sure what.
Yeah, you don't have a key, so you do need to make a burglary roll to relock. Good. Okay. That's once again more than you needed.
So we step over the step that's a trap and
Alarm.
an alarm at least. Yeah. So
And inspect the next door.
Okay, so you go down the short corridor, and there's another door. It's a large
and
metal door.
Simon needs to look at this one.
How is this hallway lit? Electric lights? No lights?
Yeah, there aren't any lights in here.
I have a torch. A flashlight.
A flashlight.
Yeah.
You suddenly
I
became
can-
British for a moment and
Mm-hmm.
referred to your flashlight as a torch.
I do that recently.
So what do they call it? Actually have a real torch.
You specify the kind that burns.
Wow.
I don't see any traps.
Apparently not.
I think I'll check myself. Call it a hunch.
Let's see.
Okay, so you're
I know a
examining
secret.
what?
I'm examining the door and the surrounding wall for whatever that
Okay.
mystery thing was that
All
you
right.
perceived.
Yeah.
And I know a secret because I'm being paranoid.
Okay.
So it came out legendary.
All right.
That being current if he is out to get you.
Well, I mean,
And he maybe not out to get
I wouldn't
us
say out
specifically,
to
but he
get
doesn't
him,
No,
yes.
I'm
But the person who
specifically-
uninvited
built-
guests.
who designed and built this didn't want random strangers wandering in.
Random stranger.
And
It's
you
Hawaii.
think that
They're all friendly here.
you think that they are specifically out to get Jack, Simon, and Edge.
That actually.
All right, so you got what'd you say? Legendary.
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 All right.
They at least want to know what we're up.
All right. So yes, it's kind of like a Faraday cage, but mysteries based. So if you pass through this sort of grid, which, as far as you can tell, extends past where you can see.
Right.
So it encases this whole interior area. If you pass through it, it triggers some sort of mysteries reaction. You're not sure what it is because you cannot see. There's got to be like some sort of inscription somewhere,
Uh-huh.
but it's not on the outer wall. It's
Right.
It's on whatever runs the thing is on the inside,
Yeah.
and you can't figure.
but
out
you can
details
detect
on
that it's
stuff.
there. I mean, it's very obvious at
Uh-huh.
Legendary.
So it's just a metal door, right?
It's a metal door. Yes.
No windows.
There's no window in it. It also has a lock. This lock is better than the outer door lock. Somebody was looking for traps. Is that right?
Sort of. But I only got its engineering
And
average.
he was looking too, though.
Yeah, I was doing it with straight investigation, and I got fantastic for the stuff the focus sense bonus applies to.
So not on the door or on that part of the wall, but sort of on the walls and ceiling. You notice there's like little holes.
Huh. I don't know what they are, but I will point them out to everybody else, and especially curious what Jack thinks.
Oh yeah, there's holes.
Because when it comes to fairly paranoid security tricks, I don't know
Since
which
the
one rates higher. Jack,
magic circle doesn't extend to the ceiling of those walls, correct?
It's something from the description. It's outside of the.
It fully encases some interior area in a grid.
But I think he's saying the holes are outside. Of
The
that
holes
area.
are outside of that area. Yes.
Angie, tell your companion to stick his head up and see what's behind those holes. Probably know it might be gas. Might be acid.
Yeah, it could
Might
be
be
all
arrows
sorts.
and guns.
Yeah, and the holes large enough someone could shoot through them?
No.
Or maybe, but
No,
it
it took a very good roll to
spot them.
spot them. They're like,
But but it could,
pinholes,
it
basically.
could be
There-
some
and there's
sort of gas
there's
or
6
some
of them,
sort
2 on the
corrosive or-
wall, each wall, and then 2 in the ceiling.
What's the floor and ceiling made of around here?
It's all concrete.
Okay.
Perfect for acid.
What? Yep. I
And for
will.
chlorine gas.
I will tell my spirit take a moment, tell my spirit companion, don't try to pass through that mysteries grid, but look just outside of it, above the ceiling, just to the sides of these walls. We want to know where those
Yes,
holes
you're being a
go.
very silly child.
What's hooked up to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
You are being a very silly child. Yes, you are.
So he goes, and it's tanks with liquid and some sort of mechanical mechanism that's stopping the liquid from exiting. But there's like 2 different tanks.
Oh, a binary compound.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
He's not a chemist.
Right. But, yes. Hey, even with science at average, that would occur.
And yeah, there's like there's an electrical mechanism that's controlling the mechanical
and
mechanism,
the wires
and the
for
wires
that
go
in through the shield that he's not trying to pass.
right.
through.
So
Yeah.
I can't tell you where they
Right.
go eventually,
So-
but they go in there.
So 2 things that mixed together make some
Probably make
immediately
something
catch
nasty.
on fire or make a
Yeah, and I
really
can tell you it's
powerful
liquid. I can't.
corrosive
I mean,
or-
I
yeah.
can't smell.
No. Or make a poison so nasty you don't wanna store it. You only mix it when you really need to clear out this tunnel. Whatever it is, we don't want to find out firsthand.
So,
How far in there is
looking to Edgy, are there any signs that it has gone off in the past?
That would be a very
Investigation.
subtle thing to check for. I can investigate the holes, but I want to hear what Jack was about that.
So there's a tank, has a pipe, has a mechanism that's on the pipe preventing the contents of the tank from flowing. How far away is that pipe from the ceiling and wall?
Okay, that's how
Yeah,
far.
so
Where's the mechanism? I mean,
Right.
the
pipe
pipes-
goes all the way to the holes, but how far in is that valve?
oh, that far in?
Like a foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just how thick is this wall, the ceiling?
Is the piping embedded in poured concrete?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Not the mechanism isn't, but
Okay.
the piping that goes down to the hole is.
Yeah, but
So there's concrete like 8 or 10 inches thick,
Yeah.
and the valve is just on the other side of
Anybody got a bunch of chewing gum?
it.
Not here.
As long as it's not an acid that can burn through chewing gum, that should do it.
So there's solid concrete walls, and then the valve is just the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
the concrete wall's a foot thick.
Or
About,
nearly,
yeah.
At least 10 inches.
I mean, he didn't get out a ruler.
Right.
He just sort of indicated with his
About
hands
a
to
foot,
Edgy, and
yeah.
Edgy went, "Oh, that's about that."
Well, I'm saying is we just make a hole and I reach in there and I just crush the pipes. So if it
that
activates
could
it.
be done, or crumble the
Okay.
concrete
Can
enough
I
to get
back
at the
up
piping.
outside the door at that point? Because
Meanwhile,
Outside the outer door, you
Yeah.
mean? Because you're already outside the inner door.
no, I meant outside the outer door.
investigating the holes themselves.
If you have a solution, I'm
magnifying
open.
glass.
These are not cauliflower, they're ears.
And
I,
okay, you really haven't done a thorough investigation of the door for traps yet,
yep.
but I'm just looking at it. You're pretty sure that that's an airtight door. I mean, it goes into the frame very tightly.
That's
So
something
that
an
says it's
engineer who
probably-
spent time on submarines and spaceships
Yeah.
would spot.
It's either gas or acid.
Yeah, very likely.
It's
Or some
leaning
sort of.
more
All right, so
towards
you're
the
looking for
flammable.
past
I'm
possible
looking,
triggering events.
right, I'm looking at the holes themselves, traces left by, are there scorch marks, are there discolorations
Okay.
that look like acid, etc. Give me a moment to figure. Yeah, that'd be godlike if I get a +1 for the magnifying glass.
Okay, so that's visual examination.
Sense of smell is merely legendary. Yes.
Okay, that's good enough.
No, sorry, epic. But yeah, is that good enough?
That barely makes it. Well, okay, you're one better than what was needed.
Okay.
So you can tell it's not. The valves are obviously not completely perfect.
Sure.
Yep.
You are getting a whiff of ammonia and bleach.
Oh, lovely.
Poison gas.
Ammonia and bleach.
Oh,
You got a quick and
A quick and dirty chlorine bomb.
chlorine gas us all with chlorine set up. Would our gas masks be able to handle that?
Yes. I mean, you don't want to stand there for like
That's
an
true.
hour.
Wouldn't
You
break
know what-
your-
you know what it'll do to
wouldn't
your
break your
skin?
It's not good.
It's better than getting your lung tissue. But,
yes, it is.
but it won't like your skin won't like it.
I understand that. I'm just trying to
Well, if they're
think
doing
in
that-
terms of here we have with us.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at the Mystic Sensor thing
Mm-hmm.
and trying to come up with a way to convince the grid that no, you don't want to follow that chunk of wall and that door. You want to follow that chunk of wall and that door back there.
In other words, change the shape of the grid without the grid noticing.
Right.
So
Okay.
But does the grid really want to change?
If it does, then it's easy. If it doesn't, then it's harder.
Right.
All right. Let's see.
Well, if no one else can think of a better solution, I'm thinking full frontal assault. Which means me running over there and kicking the door in.
we could do that.
Well, even though it's a metal door, yes, you can do that. You can do
Right.
that.
Yes, and the rest of us would be right on his heels as soon as the door broke in. Yes.
We have a means of dealing with the chlorine gas trap.
Yeah.
We just plug up the holes with bits of C4 of C.
What?
It's not going to detonate.
I know.
Are you sure that C4 will resist chlorine gas?
Well, anyway, it's C. It's not
Yeah.
C4, but yes.
Yes.
At least temporarily, it will resist. It may not resist the chlorinated substances, probably hydrochloric acid.
No.
No.
Just bleach and
Oh,
ammonia.
bleach. Oh yeah, it'll easily
It'll
resist.
resist
It
the
might be
bleach.
under
I'm not
pressure.
sure how it reacts to ammonia.
Well, it is under pressure.
It might be under
because
pressure.
it's-
Which means you're just
Maintain-
gonna do like this with your finger, and you think you're gonna resist this? I don't think so. Not unless we had some cement and we wanted to wait 24 hours.
I'd go 48, but anyway.
Let's put water on it, helps. It gets stronger. Longer it takes cement to dry,
Okay,
the more
we're
carbon
going
dioxide
to
you
discuss silly ways to deal with this
Okay,
then.
Well,
have. So
the
far,
alternative is
Because
standing
nobody
here
wants to
more.
stand out here for 48 hours, I promise you that.
no bathroom for one thing, no food.
Well, we can.
We only
go
want to crimp
out-
one
outside.
of the pipes. Doesn't matter which one. If you crimp both of them, there's the possibility of an accident, and you end up with the disaster.
I have to punch a hole in the wall anyways. It's gonna set off make all kinds of noise.
Yes.
Well, you are very stealthy. I would say that it's difficult to stealthily punch through a foot of concrete, though.
Okay.
So right now, I'm still thinking full frontal assault because I can't think of anything else.
I don't have any.
And no one
better
else is
idea.
coming up with any ideas either.
Unless
Well,
we
I think
want
I
to go.
could-
Plus, we want to go back to Cloud 9.
The problem
and
is
get
that-
hazmat
that-
suits,
I,
but
The stuff
I
that's
don't
controlling it
legit-
is on the other side of that wall.
That's true. It is.
I reach into my purse, bring out a cocking gun with cock.
Okay. Are you doing?
Wow,
Are you pushing caulk into these
Little
pinholes?
hole pinholes.
Okay, there's 6 of them. You push caulk up into them.
It doesn't take that long for it to.
Caulk is
seal.
not. Yeah, it's sealed.
Mhm.
that may work.
That
Not
could
sure
not-
why you were carrying a caulk gun, but you spent
I-
the bait
I-
point.
You know,
I
if I
anticipated
thought
that I
anybody might
I
have.
always carry a cock.
Every well-prepared woman of the 20s carries a cock.
Really, that's not true. No.
It's a special cement cock too.
Fine.
I thought it might come in handy.
So
I'm not arguing. That's
I would say that it isn't impossible, but your base time is going to be 8 hours.
for what the trick Simon wanted to pull.
You're gonna have some penalties.
Yeah.
And yes, you're going to have some
Beside
penalties
the
because you're working from outside of where you would really want to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do I think it would be any easier to just? Well, it doesn't matter because I'd be passing through the grid then.
Yeah.
What is it? A grid?
Let's just go through the.
Can you just stretch it?
That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to stretch it so it instead used that door as
Well,
its.
why not just stretch a hole in it so that the
Because
one
we'd
section-
still be passing through the grid. We'd still be passing through the grid then, and it's passing through the grid that's the trigger.
Is it touching the lines or the intersections, or is
He
it? actually-
isn't sure.
Oh,
That's the thing.
Make a door in the grid is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but Simon isn't sure that would do anything.
right. Well,
Okay.
I was thinking of it like fabric. You just,
Yeah.
but okay.
But it
That
might work
doesn't
like
seem
that,
right.
and it might not, and Simon can't tell from outside, and if he can't tell, even with special help, I'm not likely to be able to tell either.
Yeah, I mean, you could. You don't
With
want to
my
send your
spirit-
spirit companion
No.
through that to look at the other side.
With
Yeah,
my
That would be
spirit,
a very bad
with
idea.
my spirit companion helping
The
my
beauty of going straight
perceptions,
through
I
the
get
door
a
is
plus
if
one
there is a
bonus,
manual
which puts
trigger,
my
they're not going to
mysteries
trigger
out to
it.
Simon's base, but he's got
Correct.
all sorts of tricks
Because
and
it'd be a big
toys
hole.
to help
It'd be
him
gas
out
and
that I
sauce.
don't
Yeah.
have. So if
So-
he can't do it, if he can't figure it, I can't help him.
A normal has to be able to go through this door.
That's
Yes.
true.
So it's probably not going to slice you into bits.
So
That would be weird.
all we would have to do is somehow trick the door into thinking that the correct key was used to open it, and then it's just like the person that comes and goes, and at very least sets up, at very worst sets off an alarm that somebody has passed.
It's probably a good metaphor, but how do we figure what the correct key is when we can't look at the lock? Metaphorically
Well, you
speaking.
can. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Metaphor. I was
Yeah,
trying to
we're
say
talking
you
about
can look at the
physical
lock on the
I was
door.
thinking the
The
physical
physical-
lock.
No, there's probably a necklace or a ring that a person wears, and when they walk in to get to the door, it says this person's okay. Let them in. Don't
It
do
would be
anything.
either something like that, or it is the physical key with some sort of mysteries.
Yeah, I mean they have to have the key to open the door.
The
They're
other
not
thing
using
it could
burglary
be,
every time they go into the inner
if it's
area.
just
Good
a,
practice.
if it's just an alarm,
Mm-hmm.
how often does somebody go through that door? They could say, we want to know every time somebody goes through that door.
That's not likely. You don't usually do that. You have secured rooms. You don't have the alarm go off when someone walks in and out. You only have it go off when someone walks in who's not supposed to be in, because then you respond to it. Otherwise, you'll block it out.
Plausible, but we're not gonna find out for sure from outside.
Because they have
is my
secured rooms where I
suspicion.
work.
My hunch would be that our most efficient method is simply pick the physical lock, open the door, and find out what the mystery stuff does when we open the door.
There is one of his silly.
Well, I mean, Jack already said full frontal assault. He
Okay,
means
he could smash in the
smash
door.
the door and run in.
I suspect in terms of the mysteries grid it'd be about the same, but
Yeah.
I want to hear the silly idea.
You want to go
Yes.
camp outside next to the meandering trail and watch for somebody to come by?
And just bushwhack them.
Well, no, I was thinking
Or
follow
even
him back
just
in.
observe them.
Follow
Ah,
them back in.
Yeah, but we don't know whether that'd be 1 hour or 8 hours or 24 hours.
Or a week.
Or a week.
Yeah, I'll do it if everybody else thinks it's a good idea, but I
That
don't know
sounds
if I'm
really
that
boring.
patient.
Yeah.
If it's
What?
a week,
What she said, yeah.
no. I mean, if it's an hour, that's fine, but you don't know what their schedule is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an hour in Hawaii. That's cool.
Full frontal assault might be as good as anything.
No, no
Well,
one's come up with an
Before we
alternate.
do a full frontal assault,
Okay.
let's go out to the antennas
Ah.
and prevent a transmission saying, hey, we just got assaulted.
Ah, that is a clever idea. Alarms may go off locally, but if we can avoid somebody at some other location being alerted, that might help us in the long run.
It
Yeah.
would. It's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah. And it won't take us
won't
us
take too
long
long.
to find, whatever.
Well, you
concealed
already
cable.
found
We
the.
found the antenna.
Yep. Yep, you know where the 3 antennas are.
Just
If you'll let us out.
Yeah,
Let's
let's,
do
let's
that.
go out.
Okey
rounding
dokey.
the cables at the bases of the trees
Of
might
the-
be
Look at the
Like
setup.
roll.
Is it a
Burglary
right,
roll?
burglary?
Now I roll well. Thanks a lot.
All right, well,
You found a skeleton key that fits.
quarter second to do it, I guess. You use the rest of the overflow to make it undetectable and blah, blah, blah. Anyway,
We go back out.
so you're back out and are you going to relock it once you're out?
Yeah.
Okay. And you didn't have to if you didn't think anybody was going to be coming out. But
I'm gonna be good just because.
all right.
So far, the only traces we've left are the holes are caulked off, which we
And
I got a fair though on my burglary.
Well,
But the other rock's the
that's
average.
good enough. Yes.
No.
I mean, you don't do it in a quarter second this time.
No.
The alarm bypass would be pretty obvious.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. The alarm bypass is there's a big wire attached to the
But
two.
But you could remove that now while we're.
You could
Let's
also
wait until-
disable the alarm completely.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, I ain't gonna do that. They might actually.
If
send
yeah, I
someone to
mean,
look at it.
breaking the circuit is what triggers the alarm, and there's no way to. I mean,
Okay.
bypassing it is the way you got to do it.
Okay.
You could make a smaller, less conspicuous bypass on the inside side of the door, but
Anyway,
that's probably
continuing
not
on,
worth
Mm-hmm.
we go to the nearest.
first
I mean, they're
antenna.
all pretty much equidistant, but you go to the nearest antenna.
And this
This
is
will be an
engineering.
Engineering.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay then. Is this investigating it or?
Yeah,
All right.
this was only to investigate it, so that is a epic result.
It's called pulling the coax on.
So yeah, there's. I mean, it's a standard, connection to an antenna. There is like an extra wire or two. No, there's 2 extra wires, which you think are probably used for making sure that if there's a cut,
It'll detect it.
it'll detect a cut. Oh, we can't actually send because the antenna wire has been severed somehow, which I don't know. It happens sometimes. People dig or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I
That-
run-
that-
A storm comes through.
Yeah.
That is
No,
how the
bypass.
sysadmin gets rescued in the wilderness. They bury a line of cable and wait for the backhoe to.
Okay. Hey, there's the backhoe. Yes, because backhoes always seem to find those cables.
So
Or the gas main. One of the two.
yeah,
Ugh.
or both.
So, yes.
So, yeah.
You can yes,
can
it's an
easily-
easy engineering thing to bypass the actual leads that you want to bypass and
Not those.
not the leads that you don't want to bypass. Yes.
Okay. We can probably go.
So
around
whoever
and
wants
do
to
it.
do that should do that then. on
That
this.
engineering?
That's
Yeah.
another engineering roll. Yes, it's definitely not a science roll.
Superb.
Okay. That's like 3 shifts on what you needed.
Well, they're doing that.
Next. Well, we're all coming in the same zone, remember?
Yep.
Yeah, we want to stay in the same zone. We could get it done slightly quicker by splitting up, but one party would lose
Okay.
stealth.
You don't want to leave
No, I don't want to leave Jack.
Jack. Okay.
But while we're but you see, while they're doing things with the antenna, who cares?
You have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah,
Something
well,
electrical.
yes.
That's about as much as you know.
Uh-huh. I'm going to go off and consult the Akashic record.
Okay.
And see if the Akashic record contains anything resembling a basic floor plan of what's inside this hill.
A human being built it. So,
Or taking.
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
yeah, human beings built it. It was
Yeah.
not aliens or something like that. That's
Now,
Akashic record.
No, you want pages.
I want 2 different sections, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know-
I
I
don't
know
know
what
why
you-
they put these.
I wrote them
They're
down. You want
consistent.
442 and
Yeah, I
441.
was gonna say.
well, that's
by
why
the
I
time
went.
they got to the
That's
second
why
one,
in my
it was a
notes I
tree.
put everything together
Yep.
that's related to a topic,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I did one on mysteries.
Yeah, but this is Strange Tales of the Century, not Spirit of the Century. Oh, and by the way, yesterday I bought, well, on Amazon, I bought 2 more. I bought the one for Young Centurions
Okay.
and the one for, what is it, Shadow of the Century, which is for the 1980s, I believe. So
Okay.
all of your characters are very old in that one. But they're still vital.
So
And I also
Yeah,
bought
boy, they're pretty
Fate of
fancy things
Cthulhu,
if
I
you
think it's
look at
called,
them
because we do
closely.
have Cthulhu elements in this.
Mm-hmm.
So they should be showing up in a couple of weeks.
so
I did slow. Anyway, 442?
442
I
and
find this
491.
entertaining.
so even though that book is written by different people than the one who wrote this book,
Yeah,
they still put things in multiple places.
yes.
They follow the same pattern.
For
okay?
instance, Alien Companion is in 2 different areas. It's at 412 through 413, and then it's like 475.
476.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Okay.
by the time you get to the second book,
476, you're right. Yes, because it says 475, but it really is 476.
Yes.
Part of
Anyway.
what's going on is part of what's going on there is this chunk is player and this chunk is GM.
Okay.
Okay.
I see that.
440 is Akashic Research.
Okay.
It's
Maybe
spelled-
it says
it's spelled
442 in the
luxury yacht, but
index.
it's pronounced
No,
Colorado.
it's more likely that it said 442 in my
I find this entertaining.
Acrobat record. I
Ah.
used
They first started
Acrobat
using
number,
coaxial
not-
cable in
440 and
1858.
489.
They figured out how it works in 1880.
Figured out how what works.
Coax.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Took us 22 years to figure out why coax works.
everything thought, felt, said, and done. All
And I think a few more years before the manufacture, it
One of
was
them,
easy
yay.
enough to manufacture that it was widely used.
The library on hand of
Coaxial cable
quality
was used
equal to
in,
your mystery
in the
skill,
first
enabling him
1858
to
and
answer
following transatlantic cables.
questions with a base difficulty
Sure.
less than or equal to his mystery skill.
So they must have been producing it commercially.
Okay. Yep.
Additionally, any research performed by the character in a real library automatically takes 3. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Less. I'm just thinking about how fast you could do research in John Doe's library once it's
He walks
complete in
in.
another month.
Walks in, turns around, walks out.
No. But the thing is, what happens if by that time I've also picked up photographic memory?
Oh God.
Your head explodes.
You
Too
know,
much pressure.
I don't believe that's true. No, but he just
No,
he
he
just
He walks
Fat
in the.
start
he
leaking
always
out
types the correct code for the exact thing that he wants, and there it is.
He walks in,
I know.
he puts his
John
hand
Doe's
on the
library has a
keyboard,
turnstile.
and
He just
somehow
goes in
some
and
keys just feel right, and he punches
And then a
a few
little
keys,
sign
and there's
goes,
the
blinks and says,
answer.
another satisfied customer. That'll be $5, please.
And it's phrased in a way so that they're both targeted at the player. So I don't whatever.
They established a precedent, kept with it
Yeah,
in all of their.
They thought it was a wonderful design feature.
This is awesome how these are two different things, isn't it?
After all, what is a bug? Or no, what is a feature? A bug in a suit.
Nice.
Any other
Succinct.
skill? Passive opposition.
That's why I liked.
Use-
That's why I did like Danny's
Just
plate
know what you need.
on the VW
All right.
bug that said
So-
feature.
So the page 440 version of Akashic Research doesn't really help you.
Yeah, it's the page 490 that
It's
does.
the page 489 version that helps you.
So,
And I believe I may, or I believe I believe there is a unclear about spending a fate point. Sometimes required and sometimes not, and I'm spending the fate point.
Yeah. When recalling any kind of information that another human being might know, you can spend a fate point to. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting because this. It starts by saying everything everyone has ever thought, felt, said, and done. But then lower, it says any kind of information that another human being might know. So not all past knowledge, but all current knowledge. So if everybody who had dealt with this is dead, which is not the case, you wouldn't be able to get this. You spent a fate point. All right, you spent the fate point to roll mysteries instead of any other skill. So roll mysteries after
Legendary.
Legendary. All right. Well, yes, the needed information is not legendary. However, a regular superb library, so the first version of Akashic Research wouldn't help you because just a superb library would not have the plans for this.
Right.
But that second version of Akashic Research, I hate that they're putting it in two different places and it's two very different stuff.
Yes.
I hate that.
It is confusing.
well, being GM, you get to choose one or the other.
I'm going to be nice and say both of them are true.
Well, I'm just saying that we get rid of the hatred.
It would.
No, it wouldn't. It would just delay.
Because the book is still white.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the thing that bothers me is that they decided to do that in the book. So you spent your fate point and you got good enough because it is within current human knowledge.
So
Though also the fact that it phrases it very differently in the first paragraph and the second paragraph, what you can know, that bothers me as well. Yes, you've got the interior area layout. You know that the grid is designed so that if you're not actually carrying the key that's used to unlock the door, the key that's used to unlock the door is also a mystical based thing.
Right.
If you don't have that
It's a physical key and a mysteries key.
everybody within that interior area who it's a large room basically
Okay.
will look at that door if anything that doesn't have that key passes through it. And there's multiple keys actually. There's
Right.
4 copies of the key. Inside, I mean, you get the knowledge, but there's a lot of electronic equipment in there.
I didn't care about that. I cared about floor plan.
All right, it's one great big room with a corner that has a sort of toilet sink area in it.
Okay.
It's walled off that particular area. So it's a bathroom,
Right.
so that they don't have to go out and use the forest.
Okay.
There are well, let's see now. There are currently 3 people in there. You're just looking at the floor plan. Yeah, there are like benches up against the wall that have electronic equipment on it. There are chairs in there. I'm not sure what else you would be. I mean,
from
There's-
evidently
there
a
are-
cooking area.
there are 2 of those sort of typewriter-y things
Okay.
with a bunch of gears inside of them, but once again, you don't really understand what's going on.
Right.
from the placement.
there is food in there in a cupboard, but it's not. They don't cook.
No cooking.
There's no. I mean, there is a small ventilation thing, but there's nothing to vent like smoke or whatever.
Okay.
Cold lunches.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, fruit and bread and cheese.
Well, knowing that, we know that they don't stay there 24/7.
Well, you didn't ask that question, so
But
yes, he doesn't know the shifts. He just knows actually
Right.
right now there's 3 people in there.
So as she's disconnecting,
I
antennas,
disconnected it.
I'm going to say, Slim,
Are you
wanna
telling
know
the
what's
rest of
inside?
the people this?
Yes.
Okay.
You want to know what's inside?
yeah, but could we use a rare artifact to act as a key? Just open it up. Door opens up. I'm stealthing everybody. They're confused, but they don't like hit the big red panic button, which is probably at every surface near them. Hey, could we do that? I guess it's a question for the GM too.
That's really a GM question. Given one prescribed use of a rare artifact, the answer would be yes. You can expend a rare artifact to overcome an obstacle.
Yes.
Yes.
Therefore,
That is true.
Therefore, I should.
Yes,
be able
if
to
you
use
have a rare artifact that hasn't been specified yet for this adventure, you could say, this gets us past that barrier without making everybody look at the door
Right.
suddenly.
Right.
And even if you're stealth, if the door is open and they know that when they're forced to look at the door, somebody just came in.
Interesting. So you.
They wouldn't see what it was that just came in, but they would know.
See the door open.
They see the door would be open.
So it's something like a mysteries compulsion.
Yes.
You don't have to have mysteries yourself
No.
to notice that something triggered that
Yes.
alarm. You're forced to notice.
I wish they'd close the door.
Yeah,
My neck is starting.
There's a
to hurt.
draft. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody must have just come in here. They wouldn't see anybody.
See,
But
if he had the key and we open it up and we cracked it just enough for people to start slipping in.
If it's triggered, it's triggered.
But if you have the key and you use it to unlock it, it's not triggered then.
The people going through the grid would have to carry that key while they're going through the grid.
You carry it, you walk through, you hand it back to the next guy.
that could be done either
Yes.
with a real key or with an artifact.
Yes, with the artifact, yes, you could just hand it back.
First person walks through.
Yes, you don't break through. You hand the key; it's breaking through, and then the other person on the other side takes it, walks through, and then
Repeat till we've all gotten through.
Yes, it's
but Jack
somewhat-
goes through first. And
somewhat complicated. But yes, you could do that. And I mean, because you are stealth, they wouldn't notice it that the door was open.
Right, and I keep hushing it. I go out first, and I keep hushing people who keep
as
coming
they
in.
come in. And
Because they're
those
in
of us
another
that are
zone,
out-
and now I'm in my zone. 'Cause the
That's
doors-
right. They're on the
doors
other
are-
side of a barrier,
Yes,
basically.
the doors are barrier.
Right. So we wouldn't
Well,
be
also
hushed
the mysteries thing is
Right.
kind of a barrier.
No,
So we wouldn't be hushed while we're outside an
Let's-
opaque
But no one's there.
door, but
Let's
yeah.
finish the antennas.
All right.
Yeah.
So there's 2 more antennas. Once again, it's
Oh,
Well-
that's a good result. Does it look the same?
yes. It's
Okay.
got the same sort of
You can tag that.
And that is a fantastic result.
well, okay, that one is really fast then.
Again,
The good isn't especially fast.
yep.
Which could you tag that you already done it before, so you know what you're doing?
Sure.
Another good became superb.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
Saves
it's
us
a little
few
faster,
moments.
yes. So you've done all 3 now.
Okay.
They're all 3 bypassed.
Good.
It took you some time.
Yes.
It wasn't
And
instantaneous
now I
like when
have a
Jack
question for Simon.
coughs at a lock.
So
And
what
it unlocks.
happens if it gets penetrated at two places at the same time? Where do they look?
They look at the door.
Yeah.
Okay.
The spec is when it's penetrated, look at the door.
So,
So
if we bust into the lavatory, they'll be looking at the door.
Well, you'd have to tunnel around to the back. I mean, you have to tunnel in from the back. Then.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we would.
Yeah, I thought maybe they might have a vent. You know, putting in air.
They have a small vent.
They actually have a couple of basically about that big around
Yeah.
vents.
Yeah, you'd have to go on a pretty serious diet to do that.
I'm not going to make that.
No, nobody's this small.
But I could go up and get a shovel.
If somebody had an animal companion that was a snake, amusing things could be
Yes.
done.
Or a
Rats would do
vampire.
it.
Yeah,
That's true.
If you're a vampire.
yeah, snakes, bats, insects.
Squirrels.
There's all sorts of things that can fit down that.
Shut up, see?
I would-
Shut up, be useful.
Yes, a Shoggoth could go down that pipe.
Leaving considerable corrosion on the pipe in the process.
Well, it's a concrete pipe, so a Shoggoth does not eat rock.
I wonder if they have a problem with rats because Hawaii has no.
There's actually sort of a
Oh, okay.
barrier,
Mm.
a
Like there's
metallic
a heavy-
grid barrier,
Yes, a
So-
mesh on it, so yeah,
A screen.
screen.
a screen on it.
Yep.
See,
However, mice could probably get in there.
But not if you put a screen on.
It's not that fine. It's more like
There's
there's about a 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
determined mouse could squeeze through.
So, since
mice can get in some very
digging
small
doesn't
areas.
seem possible, how about your thingy that lets you zip all around the
Sutures of
world?
their skull.
I gotta know where I'm going. I
Yeah,
have to
he
see
can't
it.
visualize the interior unless he can like psychically read it from Simon's mind somehow.
Oh,
But a
I know how to do
description
it.
isn't good enough.
I
No,
have some X-ray goggles. I could put them on, look through the door.
I repurposed those.
Oh,
I have a
Universal
question.
gadget.
Yes. What's your question?
Then I can
Do
see
you have a
it.
miniature camera?
There, yeah.
Well,
we
you
could
could.
lower it down through the vent. Yes.
Yes.
yes, you're
That-
good. There's
that
enough.
would be
There's
very
enough,
easy.
Okay,
enough
when you
gap,
say-
and the vent holes are big enough.
when you say camera, you don't mean like a film camera, right? You mean
I
like a-
mean, one of the extra noise.
Ah. Like I said,
It's
if I
like
can
a video camera.
Right.
Yes, I can
It's
see where I'm going. I can go
transmitting
there.
a live
Yes.
image electronically.
And when you
You
consult
compare a
Simon, he
scope
says,
with
yeah,
all
that
these
would
wires.
not trigger that grid. At all.
Okay.
'Cause
And
you're not passing through it, really.
we're
Well,
said
I
we
don't
go
know
that
how his
running
thing
a small
works.
object with a couple wires through it.
Is it worth the 4-mile hike to go get that?
Yeah, because you don't have it with you.
No.
It's back up in the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
You know, from a
From a surprising point of view,
surprising point of view,
knowing where the three where
Exactly
the three
where people
are
are.
and what they're doing.
is part of it. And there's also the at that point we'd be trading time. We're trading time for expending a rare artifact, and I think it's probably worth it.
In fact, once we once we get out of the heavily forested area, we could go back to the dirigible much more quickly than we came.
yeah, we
Because
wouldn't
we
be
were looking
searching.
for traps and anything else out of the ordinary. We
Mhm.
could do it.
We
in
could
a
go
truck.
back, have lunch, come back.
And I'd
Stop for
say
maybe coffee, read a magazine.
Refilled my cock gun.
It certainly wouldn't hurt.
It didn't use very much caulk, okay? You're not really
No,
worried
she
about the
saw
amount
a
of
way to
caulk you
improve-
use.
When she was using it, she saw a way to improve the design.
Nobody's going, wow, we used, that much caulk out of the caulk gun. Oh no.
I thought it was worth a point to the seal.
Hey,
It was a
absolutely
clever
agree.
idea.
Yeah.
That's just some of us are not quite that. What would be a handy gadget oriented? That's that's part of why we hang out with a mad scientist and a very grouchy engineer.
All these make really cheap, really good stuff for those machines. My sister gets over coffee, hot chocolate.
Oh. I'm getting the Costco house brand decaf coffee.
Anyways, worth talking about going 4 miles
To get the video
to get
camera.
the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since we can.
Well, actually, you want to come with me and just pop over there and go get it and come back.
We could pop into the.
I know your layout of your airship well enough.
Well, you don't know every part of it.
No, but I know where we can get in the airship.
We can pop into
And then
the
you can
guest
then
area.
you can
yes.
you can run in and get the thing
Yes,
and come
sure.
back and join me.
Then
I suppose we can
suggest
go.
But
the
rest
rest
of
of
us
us
should
get-
get out of the way.
yeah, and
Well, the thing is, the rest of you have to come with me because otherwise you'll be sitting
okay.
here not stealth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
or
The person who is hushing you would leave,
Yes.
and then you would be visible.
Uh-huh.
Now you have looked and not found any cameras or anything of that
guards
sort.
outside.
What if
Find
somebody
a
like
place
left
off,
the area or
Yeah.
came into the
Either way
area?
works.
Right.
Besides, then I can go, have brunch, read a magazine, coffee.
I think that they're just going up. She's getting the video camera, coming back to Jack, and then they're coming back here.
Let's put it this way: is she going to just get the video camera?
You
She's
go
a
with her.
constant
That's the
taker.
plan.
You go with
Is
her.
just to get the video
I think
camera.
all of us go back to the airship.
I'm okay,
Okay,
with that.
okay,
I would
fine.
also be okay with hiding in the forest, out of sight of where the door is. But whichever feels like
Let's
a better
go.
bet to you.
Let's go.
Okay,
Let's
so
get the show
teleport.
area.
Zoop. You're in the guest area now.
All right.
Get what you need.
Right.
Rick, go with Annie. Make sure she keep her on the straight and narrow.
You're a constant tinkerer.
Yeah, not that bad. She isn't going to try to upgrade the ship's engine
I
while
guess
she's
you
going
can
to her
carry
storage area.
So I give
The
him
video camera is like that big.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
camera we're gonna watch it on.
Oh,
Yep.
well, the screen, you mean?
Yeah.
We need
Yes.
a screen. We need a pretty lengthy bit of
Cable.
cable.
Okay. All right, you can carry the
The
screen.
big stuff. And since we're there, I would say we're back for a few minutes if the snacks are ready.
Was I told to prepare snacks?
No.
Just
Then
if
no.
there's anything handy. Oh well.
Okay. And
Here's a loaf
we
of
should
bread and some butter.
be able to make it back in time for lunch. About.
Okay.
And we go collect the stuff I think I'd need.
All right. Yeah, it's not much, and it's all in your storage.
Yep, we pop that. And we're still outside. And I want to be teleported aside just in case something bad happens.
And now we find the outside of the vent.
Okay.
That
Two vent holes. But yes,
Sure.
you find the outside of one.
One of them.
right.
The one that is looked like it was more straight.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, it
actually,
looks pretty straight.
does one of them go straight to the bathroom?
No.
Okay.
Probably would have been a good idea to vent the stink, but no.
So,
It's what a mattress for.
lower it down and check the video. Lower it a little more.
All right. It's now in that interior area.
Okay.
And you can look at the screen that they brought that's connected to the video camera, and you can see that entire interior area. Yes, it's about we'd say about 20 by 20. So a medium-sized room. And there's all sorts of like radio equipment in
How
there.
tall is the ceiling?
About 8 feet high.
And ceiling. Oh,
So
and ceiling now. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean it's high for back then, or
No.
low depending on where
Low.
you are.
low.
At least this is standard ceiling for back then.
Okay, well yes, then it's not that high. More like top of that.
Yeah.
Or
yeah. Well, not quite that low. but-
Yeah, well,
Somewhere
whatever.
in that.
Anyway, it's 8 feet. You're not gonna bump your head on it.
No.
Your pet Shoggoth would be fine in there.
It'd be great. Just go in there with him and say, kill. It'd be happy. Get some meat, you know?
Anyway, so yes, you can use your teleport device to teleport in there while holding hands with everybody.
Wait, anyone want to be getting out weapons or something?
Um,
I couldn't
Yeah, if you
follow.
want to prep right now,
Simon?
let me know what you're doing.
Would teleporting from somewhere outside that grid to somewhere inside it count as crossing it, or would
No.
that bypass it?
I bypassed it.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. I've got my staff ready,
I
and
added one of the blocks of seed to my first rolling up in the airship
Okay.
because I always want to have an escape.
I will I will let you
And
have done that.
I have my clockwork staff ready.
Okay. Anybody else doing any prep work, getting out a weapon or
sling staff and a golf ball. So if I want my first strike to just knock someone unconscious, I
for
can.
stealth.
okay.
Probably-
Right, you needed to rehush those
Because-
two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're in there. What are you doing?
I'm looking at the electronics.
I'm looking at the people.
Mhm.
Okay. Two of them are sitting, monitoring the electronics. One of them is sitting in a comfortable chair, sort of dozing. The electronics, there's like an area that has sort of lights on it for notification lights, basically. There are two large radio setups. They don't look like the radio that's in the general area of the Century Club, the sitting area or whatever. They look more like the radios that are in the Radio Shack on the roof of the Century Club. So they are more complicated than your average radio, but you're not impressed. they aren't as complicated as the radio equipment on your
I'm used to
airship.
And you call that a fair comparison.
And yeah, so it's
You mentioned a fellow snoozing. Is it someone we recognize?
nope.
Okay.
I mean, other than you saw him when you dropped the
Yep.
video
No,
camera
I-
down there, you looked all around and went, oh yeah, there's two people sitting monitoring the radio equipment. They're not really doing anything about it right now. And then there's the one guy who's sitting snoozing right now.
How are these guys dressed?
Native Hawaiian.
No,
Hawaiian
I mean
shirts and
they look like, you know, your average person from the mainland. I mean, they're not dressed fancy.
Pants and work shirts.
Pants and work shirts, yeah. They have
So-
boots on.
Are the two guys who are monitoring the buttons, or monitoring this
The radio equipment.
radio
yes.
equipment, would they be in the same zone?
As each other.
As
Yes,
each
each other.
other. I don't believe so. No, they're far enough apart so that they're not both in the same zone.
So-
I mean, they're maybe. Wait, let's see. What is a zone exactly? It's all right. So they're not within each other's zone 0, but they're within each other's zone 1. The whole room is, in fact, I think, within zone 1.
Okay.
So yes, if an explosion happened here, you would not be happy about that.
Well, I was actually thinking about if Jack was standing behind one of them and I was standing behind the other one, would I still be hushed?
You have to be within one zone of him, and that would be the case then, yes.
Okay.
You don't all have to be within zone 0 of Jack for him to hush you.
Okay.
Because then
That would be crowded.
that would be very crowded. But you all have to be within one zone of him.
Okay, well, we move until we're halfway between the two guys in the radio equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll say,
I'm really strong today.
Ah.
I point one of them at you, one of them at me, and you three, I point to the guy snoozing.
I will get out a handkerchief in not very good shape and some rope. I think with a little help I could have him tied and gagged before he's all the way awake.
Me with a companion.
I was thinking of physical help from ordinary humans who'd actually
I was going
need.
to say have your companion tie shoelaces together.
Oh, God. Sure, why not?
Well, that's a physical. Do you need to spend a fate point for
You
that?
get
The first one's free.
Oh, it gets the first one free. That's right.
Sure. Let's add
Okay.
a little Keystone Cops to the
Great. Yes.
I'm not gonna argue. We have such overwhelming advantages.
It's called the
because of-
maneuver.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
I
can
mean, none
afford
of
to
these
be
people,
silly.
as far as you can tell, are
Going
more
to
than
be
one box
natural
wonders. I
fighting.
mean, they're
Yeah.
We don't expect any of them to be much of a
So they're sitting at a chair in front of a big radio equipment.
yes. Two of them are doing that, and then off in a different part of the room is a guy sitting in a sort of leather, comfortable chair,
Mm,
and he's dozing. As I said. He's not really awake.
Mm-hmm.
I will put the rope away again and silently tell my spirit companion as soon as Jack or Simon does anything to either of the other two guys, tie his shoelaces
No,
together.
time first.
Okay,
Yeah.
then never mind. Just go ahead.
It's gonna take him time.
It's
I
gonna
could
take
have
him
some
one
handcuffs.
combat round.
Okay.
Because I
Yeah.
actually do carry those
What do you?
handcuffs.
Oh yes.
Certainly.
So,
Whatever your kinks, it's not me to judge.
I carry
I
I
tell
carry
you this
handcuffs
improvised
and leg
with rope.
cuffs. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
I have a
So
girlfriend, you know.
you're behind one. You're behind one. The three of you are at this other
The
person.
dozing fellow.
Yeah.
All right. What is your plan then? What are you going to do to these two people?
I'm going to go like so and wrap my arms around him
I can hold him immobile.
and hold him immobile and hold his arms against
And by the
him.
way, there's no big red button, but there are several switches that might be triggers for something.
Right.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to sweep around him, grab him, pull him to the chair, pick him up, and move away as I put my hand over his mouth.
Okay.
So I'm going to get him away from everything so he doesn't push up.
Not
force
within
switches.
reach of the control.
Right.
Sure.
Yes, that's yeah. You can move him like 3 feet, and he won't be able to reach anything.
I also have
I'll
to
do
use
the
turn.
gag. You guys do the body parts.
Sure.
I will use the handcuffs.
All right, and yeah, there's no way that they're going to notice you. Their defenses are all going to be at mediocre. Therefore, I mean, they still get a defense, but
Well, they could roll a +9, right?
Probably not.
Oh, +10, sorry.
So
yeah, beat
what
me.
skill is used for handcuffing someone?
fists.
Okay, so I'm at mediocre too.
Don't handcuff yourself.
Let's trade places on that. I've got fists at average.
Here's the
So
handcuffs.
Rick's gagging him, I'm handcuffing him, and he's being back up just in case. His shoelaces are already firmly tied together.
Okay,
You will like squeeze.
none of them actually put up any resistance that you notice. They all actually resist, but
the
best- the best was average.
Just in case I.
So you go 1, 2, 3, and then suddenly they're all basically disabled.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw a fate point at it so that's fair rather than mediocre.
Okay, well, it's good that you did that then.
Yeah. Hey, my fist is at average. It's just one better than Andy's.
I mean, I would have said weapons if you had anything as a weapon,
Nope.
That's what I've got. So
but
I do.
well,
Oh, never mind then.
yes.
But you're putting handcuffs on. You can't use a weapon for that.
Well, but anything is a weapon.
he's got
so
anything.
I-
as a
And he's
weapon.
using the handcuffs as a weapon to put an aspect on somebody.
I'm
handcuffed.
doing a maneuver attack with the handcuffs.
Yes, as if they were a weapon. But normally it's
Fist.
fists.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, because you have anything as a weapon, you get to use weapons instead.
Mm-hmm. Which means my -1 is it only puts me to average. I have one shift on him, and with complete surprise, that should be good enough.
Average? He got average.
You have to be by a shift.
Oh well. 8 point after all. Fine. Whatever.
Yes, he was the one who got average.
That figures.
Well, normally, centurions do not care
Say
if
it
their
was-
opponent gets average on their
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah, no ordinary circumstance. I'm just saying it figures because.
This is what fate points are for.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So,
So,
Fortunately, he was gagged extremely effectively.
all right, very good.
what was your role? Just out of curiosity.
Fantastic.
Well.
Yes, once again, you have anything as a weapon. Normally, gagging him like that would be a fists attack, but you are using the gag as a weapon to do a maneuver to put an aspect on him of gagged.
Mm-hmm. And I did the
All
same
right.
to give him an
You
aspect
grabbed
of
your guy,
handcuff, just not
and
graceful.
you're basically doing the same thing that he did, pulling him back.
I suppose
You-
it's a bull, right?
Are you also trying to muffle him or just pulling him back?
Just pulling him back.
Okay, so you grabbed him with two arms and you're pulling him back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fists attack.
Yeah, legendary.
Yeah, you can use your might for your fists. So he doesn't really have a chance there.
Yeah.
I do have to spend a fate point.
You have my zip.
Yeah,
Well,
I know.
yes, the strength is when he's trying to struggle away.
Yep.
The fist is to actually grab him.
Yeah, so I get a fair fist attack to grab him.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, you needed at least average because he got mediocre for his defense. I mean, these guys are
One day.
they're radio operators. They have engineering at average.
No, not anymore. They're hostages.
All right, so
They still have engineering at average.
yes, they still have engineering. You haven't drained them of their engineering capabilities.
And in fact, we wouldn't want to
Yeah, but
because
like
that'll be
that
an
guy in the
area where they
airship,
can tell us.
He wasn't a hostage. He was a guestage.
Anyway, so you have
your
them all.
vest.
Your guy is shouting his head off. Help! Help! Not yours or the gagged guy. They're sort of muffled.
Sir, how far do you think the nearest help is?
You're talking to his
Just-
guy?
Yeah.
Well, he actually can't see the guy behind him, so I think
Ah.
he's hoping for help from him.
I'll walk
I
around.
will.
and-
I will whisper in his ear. There's no one around to help you.
And
In my most
I mean, he can see the one that you've got
Right.
is struggling,
And as a
but he
handle,
can't really see what it is that he's struggling
Oh, right.
against.
Yes, yes, because he can.
And he
attack
doesn't
them
really
himself.
understand why your guy is going.
I'll break stealth.
Okay, now he can see what's happening to your guy.
And I was being as intimidating as possible. and
So
wearing a black
everybody's
sweater.
unstealthed now.
stealth is superfluous at this point. You want to ask them questions.
Yeah. Well, the only one who was still stealthed was Jack, I think.
Anyways,
We made
You-
attacks,
technically, I
so-
didn't make an attack.
So you weren't unstealthed until Jack unstealthed.
So, Jack will say, "Hey,
Yeah, I have an intimidation. I have an intimidation happening already.
All right, so make your intimidation roll.
hey, somebody reach, get the handcuffs and leg cuffs out of my pocket and put it on
Sure.
the side."
That's going to be so terrible. That's going to be a great intimidation roll.
Wow, and I got fair on my resolve.
So
Was that a -3 and you got great? That jewelry. Someday I'm gonna steal that from you.
I'm figuring if Jack is holding the guy still, I get a bonus to put handcuffs and leg
Leg
irons
cuffs.
Yes,
on
he's
the
got
guy
an
who's
aspect
holding
that you
still,
can
yeah.
tag for free.
Okay.
So,
Hell,
but do you need
Well,
to
you-
even roll?
The handcuffs, no. The leg irons, Jack is not pinning his legs.
not yet.
No, it would be very difficult.
Once he
Alright,
puts the
so-
handcuffs on, then I can grab his legs.
Sure. Okay, so
Yeah.
if you're doing that, then no, you don't have to make a roll.
Okay.
So then I will pick him up with one arm. Now walk him back with Buddy.
So yes, your guy is now very intimidated. There's no more combat going on.
Yeah.
There won't, I mean, really, there wasn't any combat going on before because these people were completely overwhelmed.
Yep.
So we have a few questions for you.
Oh, what is your taken out for this guy on his composure track?
Absolutely cooperative.
Absolutely cooperative. Okay.
They ain't paying me enough for this.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are getting, well, I mean, they're getting radio operator wages, which
Probably better
Not
than
bad.
normal.
it's well above minimum wage,
Mm-hmm.
but still,
It doesn't have built-in.
nobody
hazard
is
pay.
paying them enough to be attacked like this.
This chair is on wheels.
Or
is it-
no,
okay,
it's like these chairs,
Right.
except
Okay.
that they have a padded back.
Oh.
So it's okay to sit in for
Mhm.
several hours, but it's not
comfortable.
You want to get up and stretch every hour.
Yeah,
or
the only
so,
comfortable chair is
probably.
the guy who was snoozing was in.
Was rusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I mean.
Oh,
Ah,
This guy.
that guy? No, that is
it's like an hour
like
chair.
yeah.
That's just a more comfortable version of the four-legged chair.
Yes.
Okay.
So
All right. So, are you going to be intimidating your guy as well?
yeah.
Well, there's no. I mean, there's not like a poker or
Piece of furniture that we're not using.
The chair
Yeah.
he's
Here,
sitting
bench.
on.
I mean,
just kind of-
well, you
Do
know,
they
Does
have
he
to
need
destroy it?
That's
somebody with good strength could with one finger lift easily these chairs.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
breaking
but could
it
they-
into splinters with
Could they lift the chair while the guy
So
is
he's in it.
in it?
No, it would have to be one-handed for somebody with good strength to lift the chair with. If you lift the whole chair with the one finger,
With the guy in it.
with the guy in it,
that'd be a feat of strength that would help intimidate him.
That would be epic.
You
that
put a
is
basketball twirl on the.
that is good enough. It is putting a little stress on your finger though, because there are obvious minuses because you're using one finger. But it's enough to lift the one guy in the chair.
That'll slowly lower him.
All right, you have done your feat of strength. It's time to launch your intimidation against him.
So you're going to answer every single question I ask to the best of your ability. If you don't, well,
He didn't have to stop when he got to the ceiling, you know.
Make an intimidation roll.
wow, I am really rolling lousy tonight.
Well, I rolled mediocre on my resolve, so yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't roll nearly as well as Simon's guy did. He didn't roll minus, but he got an even. And so, yes, he is taken out. Absolutely cooperative as
Yeah.
well. Okay.
Okay.
There you go. He quiets down quite a bit.
might as well question these two guys first and then see if
Mr.
Mi-
Chair.
Mr. Asleep.
Well, he's not asleep anymore.
Right, but the guy wanted to see if he has anything to add. We'll
He noticed when you attacked
Oh
him.
yeah.
So are there logs near the radios to log what's happening?
Yes.
Okay.
Log books, you mean.
Log
Yeah.
books? Okay.
So I'm thinking these antennas were one on a beam, but they were vertical.
Yes.
I mean, they go omnidirectional. That stinks.
Yes, they are omnidirectional.
These guys still might know what
When
at
they
least
were
some
put
of the
in
places
place.
they were broadcasting.
So you receive radio signals, and then you send ones in response. Like
We
you
receive radio signals, verify they are correct, and then send an OK code
back to where it came from.
back. Well,
To the transmitting site.
we transmitted it, but we don't know where they come from or where they go to.
So, and then you must take that signal and you do something. You must convey it somewhere else.
We send basically the same message somewhere. We don't know where.
Different frequency?
Yes, there's a frequency schedule, and there can be certain messages that will change the frequency schedule.
Do you know the range? Do you know the maximum range of your equipment for broadcasting? That's a piece of engineering knowledge they should be able to figure out.
I only got a grade. Can I just answer before they can?
Sure.
Better yet, keep it to
No,
yourself
I
or-
will just
oh, right.
answer.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, they're really powerful.
So potentially the other side of here. If
Um,
they're short range and short wave and bounce off the atmosphere.
yeah.
Are they short wave?
Well, they're slightly above the EM band.
Yeah.
I forget what the frequency range is for Kenny.
Yeah,
that lets
you'd say
bounce off
something on the
ionosphere.
order of about 6,000 miles at least.
Okay.
So they probably can't make Africa, but they can broadcast to parts of Asia, Australia, and North America.
Okay.
And a fair bit of South America too. What it seems
No,
like.
South America
No,
means going to the east.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's too far
Okay.
east.
Okay. So
Okay.
Australia, New Zealand, parts of Asia, most of North America, and whatever islands are.
And Australia
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Well, he started off with Anzac.
All right. Yes.
Okay.
I take it you just got 2 messages fairly recently. Let's say in the last few
Nothing.
days.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure what you meant by fairly recently. We sometimes get multiple in a day.
So
But
when was? the
but
most
yes, a
recent
few days
one?
ago we got a message.
You should have gotten 2.
Not on the same day.
They
On
were
the same
different.
day, but they were a day apart.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we got one, but we got another one the day before. Yes.
Did that generate going to a special frequency, getting one a day after the other?
It did. It was not a message designed to change the frequency schedule. Special messages are designed. You have to get a special message
Oh.
To change the
to change
schedule.
the frequency schedule. It just
Mhm.
we're not told specifically what days we are or are not going to get messages.
And all you do is you take in the message, feed them through one of these machines.
To verify, and then send the message out again. Yes.
And send the radio again.
Yes, and we do a brief, got it okay kind of message.
Okay.
So, what would happen if you had a lightning strike and it took out your transmitters here? What would you do?
If it took out both transmitters,
What's the
Well, if
procedure?
you had a lightning strike on the antennas.
Mhm.
well, I mean, the antennas are kind of far apart. It would be unusual to have a lightning strike that hit all three antennas.
But if you had a lightning strike and it took out an antenna, which means it would flow in your transmitter and fry that.
I mean, we have three because we need backup. So if one of the antennas is taken out, we still have two antennas.
But how many transmitters do you have?
Two. We don't have three, we have two.
So if you lost an antenna and you lost a transmitter, what would you do? Who would you tell? Who would you say that, hey, we're in our...
There's a special message. There are about half a dozen different special messages that we can send. One of them is equipment failure. And we just send it.
Oh.
Now, if both transmitters and all three antennas were knocked out, we don't have a procedure for that.
No.
If one of the transmitters is knocked out, we are radio operators. We would just go repair it.
Yes,
You wouldn't have to... You have money to go do that with?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to wire for money? You wouldn't have to tell somebody...
If the entire transmitter was destroyed, I suppose... if both transmitters were completely destroyed...
No.
One of them.
Get rid of this idea of both, or I'm going to pick you up and throw you through the ceiling.
Well, I'm trying to think of a situation where...
One transmitter gets taken out and one antenna.
Okay.
So
we would then transmit the equipment failure message. And then we would begin working on repairing the transmitter that got taken out.
Mm-hmm.
If we have like a petty cash fund, and there aren't complete, there's not a complete transmitter available just to swap in, but we do have some parts. If some of the parts that we don't have were destroyed, we would just go, well,
bicycle into town, and there's a store that could at least order
Yes.
parts for you.
Well, where I'm going with this is that we lightning an antenna and a transmitter. We then take the airship and we go off. We can triangulate. And then they send this code, and then we get the response, and we know what frequency it's on. So then we can figure out where it went. For all I know, there's another relay station.
Yeah, there
You
could.
might ask who hired them.
Yeah, you definitely want to know
Well,
that.
go ahead, Simon. You got a guy to talk to.
all right.
Yeah.
You weren't hired by a fat guy with an Italian accent, were you?
No.
Who were you hired by?
His name was Leonard, but I don't know more than that, really.
So a guy has this really weird installation in the woods,
Hey, we're getting paid really well for this.
and the only thing you know about this guy is you know the guy's last name. You know his Leonard.
His checks well, okay. His money is good.
It's money that comes in.
Yeah, we get paid. We have been here for 2 months. We got paid every week.
Okay.
How do you get
Do
paid?
you keep a copy of the messages you receive?
Yes.
Okay.
How do we get paid? We go into town. There's a P.O. box that we have keys for. We open it up, and there's envelopes for each of us that has money in them.
How many of you are there? Are you on? Is
There's
it
just
the
three of
three
us.
of you?
Where's the-
So do you? Are you here 24/7 or what?
Well, we're allowed to leave. but there always has to be one person here.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't all three ever leave at once and just leave the radio equipment untended.
So yeah, you know anything about the defenses that went into making this thing?
Like
There's
the-
doors. What do you mean?
Okay.
there's little lights that light up when you open the doors.
Yeah. Okay. That answers my question. No.
they don't know.
What do you mean? There's
There's
big metal doors, and there
The
are
second
lights
thing-
that light up when you open the door.
And you don't know who put those in. They were just came with the.
They were here when we got here.
Uh-huh. So how in the world did somebody make this here in the middle of nowhere and no one knows
It's not-
anything about it?
It's
not
in the
middle
middle
of
it's like
nowhere.
8 miles from a town. It's not the middle of
How
nowhere.
was this even made? How are you even approached?
that little know. Yeah.
Well, I was a radio operator on a ship, and somebody, when we were making port, somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I hear you're a radio operator. Would you like to make some good money?" And the guy's name was Leonard, and he had a lot of money. He showed it to me, and he gave me some, and he told me, "Yes, you're going to be working for a while, and these are the rules of you working." And I'm like, "Well, this is no worse than being on a ship." And I'm making a lot more money than I did when I was a radio operator on the ship. And all the other two guys are like nodding along, like basically, yeah, that's kind of what happened to me too.
So if
So where are the messages, sir?
In the logbook there.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll start looking through the logbook.
So if there's only about half a dozen special messages like equipment failure, why don't you just tell us all of them?
All right, yeah. It's equipment failure, incursion, somebody nosing around. That's not really considered an incursion, but if we notice that
If you
there's
notice
been
somebody-
a lot of people walking around in this area,
Mhm.
and we're like in a forest, so that would be kind of weird.
Mhm.
Or missing member.
Hmm.
Like if somebody goes
Goes
and
into
they
town
don't
to
goes
get
into town to
groceries
get
and just
something,
doesn't
get
come back.
groceries
Yeah.
or get materials or whatever, and they don't come back when they're supposed to, then we send a message.
Mhm.
Money not received is another one. If we go into town, open up the P.O. box on Friday, and there's no money in there,
Mhm.
then we send a message. Or message received in the P.O. box is another one.
Ah,
So that's the 6.
so there's a method of contact besides radio as
Yes.
backup.
If we get any sort of message other than an envelope with money,
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to radio it.
if we get junk mail, we don't care. But if we get an actual, like, send this message immediately,
Mm-hmm.
that is considered a special message that we would send.
And presumably this would have counted as an incursion if you'd had time to send a message
And
about it.
Yes, and I'm not counting frequency change messages. That requires another kind of message, but it's not classed as the 6.
So it's not when you send, is it?
What day of the week is it?
No, we when we get a
What day of the week is it?
Today?
The 25th.
when we get a frequency change message, we have to send an acknowledgement of frequency change.
Mm-hmm. 25th, it's Monday.
It is a Monday, yes.
So they just got paid.
Just got paid like a few days ago.
See, we don't know what day they put the money in. We just know it's before Friday.
Yeah.
We look for it on Fridays, yes.
We could have gone in Saturday morning.
Yes, I mean
Tuesday.
we do only check the PO box once a week
Yeah, I mean, so
on Fridays.
I'm just thinking that we see the person puts the money and we follow them. At the beginning
Okay.
of
It's a
from
PO
somewhere.
box. It's delivered
Filled by
like
a
mail.
mail person.
Yeah.
We'd have to figure out how to backtrack pieces of mail. which
And
is-
we don't have any. We don't keep the envelopes. I mean, we open them, take the money out, and throw them away.
or ordinary white paper manila envelopes.
They're regular, yes,
Mail,
envelopes.
yeah.
You ever notice what the postmark was from? Where it was from?
That's an academic's role.
Well,
And his academics is
That's
a
mediocre.
fantastic.
Oh my
mediocre.
goodness!
He rolled a +4.
Wow, that'd be great.
He's probably going to remember.
Yes.
Evidently, one of them is interested in stamps.
No, none of them are philatelists.
this
They're
guy was
interested in
more
surviving the day.
They just noticed.
So, Hilo.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
one of the larger.
Brett doesn't know where Hilo is.
It's
Oh,
the
wow.
largest city.
Oh,
in,
excuse me, Hawaii Island.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it'd
And
be
the town we go to get the mail is Mountain View, which
Mm.
is the one that
Right.
is
very close.
Eight
very
miles
close.
away.
It's like 8 miles away.
But
yes.
I think is it Hilo or Hilo?
I don't know.
Whichever.
It's Hilo.
Right. It's the
It's
biggest
the-
city
it's the
on
big
the
city,
big
yes.
island.
That's where the where it's
Okay.
canceled. But yeah, we don't. Like I said, we just throw the envelopes away.
Yep.
We don't even bring them back here. We bring the cash back. So if you want to look at some cash,
No,
Right.
the cash is yours. You've been doing.
well, thank you, I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure who we work for really.
I gathered that.
None of the messages seem especially sinister.
Yeah, I work for a criminal.
What sort of
Okay. None of the messages are about killing anybody. At least the word like kill or murder has never been in any of the messages.
Not yet.
what sort of kind they may well use a
I
code
start
these
reading
guys
off
don't know
one of
anything.
the early
Yeah.
messages we haven't seen, so
Um,
they can know what the heck is in there. But it's-
Well, no, I mean they know what the messages say.
no,
but,
I mean
Sure.
edgy.
Mm.
science.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's all like surveillance messages, informational messages.
So we could ask
Who's
them
being
if they
surveilled
know.
other than us?
Some guy named Boomer.
Okay.
There's repeated messages. Failed to locate somebody named John Doe.
Yeah. Why am I not surprised?
So yeah, whoever was sent to locate John Doe is repeatedly failing to do so.
John Doe should replace him so that they can find him.
Yes, that's a good idea. Except he didn't really know that somebody was trying to find. Well, okay, he assumes that people are always trying to find him.
But he didn't know this particular
He didn't know
lot
this
were trying to find
particular
him.
group of people were trying to find him.
Boomer, John Doe, Edgy, Simon, and
Jack.
Jack, yes.
Shadow Jack is the identity they're tracking, or
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my vote would be we did actually can you hush us for a moment so they can't hear this?
Well, it's tied to it. Still tied up.
Yeah, I
Walk
know.
outside of the room.
Okay, that's
And
just, we
whisper.
can, yeah, sure. But my vote is we disable the radio equipment, take the cipher machines for further study, take all the logbooks, and just leave them.
No, it's a bad idea.
Okay.
I say that we
Well, if you leave them tied up, they're going to die of
Yeah,
thirst
well, yeah.
eventually, unless
I
they
guess I
can
could
get
shoot
out
him
of
in the head
it.
real quickly and just give him an Emperor's Mercy.
They aren't
Um,
guilty of
That's
anything
probably-
other than
If you
taking
disable
a
the
good-
radio equipment, they'll eventually be able to fix it.
they
So that
aren't
will buy
guilty of
time,
anything.
but it
Yeah.
won't buy an enormous amount of time.
They aren't guilty of anything other than taking a.
Well, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't let him
good
starve to
payment.
death.
No,
I-
die of thirst. They die of thirst first.
That's so much better.
Unless I mean,
wasn't
it's not
planning on leaving
not
them
impossible
tied
that
up
the
indefinitely.
guy who's tied up would be able to wriggle out of it. I mean, eventually, because of taking time, you know, he might
But
get a +4,
They
and
seem
you know,
like regular Joes. That,
they're radio operators.
Yeah.
So
They're not
They are-
murderers.
Not even
why is that?
So-
And yes, some of the
Lightning
messages would raise a little bit of suspicion. I mean,
And-
why are they surveilling these people? I don't know.
Mm,
Maybe they're bad guys.
Now we have to create a lightning storm, and then
Oh, I can create a lightning storm
Yes.
over how big an area?
around the Big Island.
Little
Wow,
island.
that's a big lightning storm.
or somewhat smaller if it's easier, but enough to take out the antenna.
Take out one antenna, take out one transmitter. Then
Then they would send a equipment failure message.
we gotta
Well, they should send. I mean, they'll do whatever you ask to, but
then
Now,
we use
normally they would send an equipment failure message.
yes. Then actually you don't actually have to fry the radio and antenna. You just have to have the lightning storm and say that it's down. That way they transmit with one of their transmitters, the other one would receive one, and we have the airship to also receive. That way we can triangulate the response that comes back. We can figure out where it's coming from.
We can try to. Yes. Although
Now,
can these-
if one of the radio antennas actually gets knocked over, we don't have the money to put a new radio antenna back up. That's kind of expensive. That would not be petty cash. But we are told that eventually somebody would show up to deal with it. I don't know who. I don't know how long.
We don't actually have to break anything. We just have to have the lightning storm so we can use it as an excuse that it's broken.
So
Or we can fry one antenna and then we still have two that work with two transmitters.
yeah, well, I'm thinking something else. We need a storm that could be seen from high-low, so that it is verified by whoever is there. That has
If
been
they
paying
have
the money.
somebody there, which they might.
Yes.
They have someone there to pay the money, whether that's a relay person or whatever.
Mhm.
That person should report that there were
There
storms.
was indeed a lightning storm, if anybody.
So I don't know if
has
it just has to cover this island. It'd probably be better to cover all the islands.
Okay, that's a really big
That's
storm.
a big storm.
We need to be able to show that lightning occurred here, use an excuse, then to send that message. And then we can position ourselves to track the response that comes back and triangulate, try to figure out its source. Because right now, we don't have a means of doing this. We got two guys who don't know nothing
They know
We
quite a bit.
about where
Where
they're
the
sending
messages
messages are
are-
going.
are
Well,
where
yes,
they're coming
they
from.
don't
They
know
don't
that.
know
They also don't know exactly where the money's coming from or
Right.
who's actually putting it in there.
They
Unless
don't-
it's Leonard,
they
which I
don't-
doubt is his real
They
name.
don't know anything suspicious.
And they don't know
other
anything that
than-
helps me get to the source.
Yeah.
That I'll agree with.
That's what I want.
I understand that. I want you to
We
not
all
mention
understand that,
airships
yes.
in front of people next time.
The matter of how big a storm needs to be, I don't know whether it'd be typical weather for this time of year, but sometimes of year you get thunderstorms just kind of
So,
popping up in tropical
Simon,
climates.
do you happen to know what type of storms would be common around here? I'm figuring this is academics, and you seem to memorize.
For that matter, I should roll on it.
I guess I can roll academics. But
I'm not.
I got a good academics.
I got a
Likewise.
fantastic academic.
Okay,
Um,
so Simon will know more about the climate. and
Yeah, I
typical
mean,
weather patterns.
storms are infrequent this time of year. They tend to be more
In
middle of the
hotter
year,
weather.
hotter
yeah.
weather. But even this time of year, you'll get occasional passing rainstorms. It's never dry in Hawaii.
It's never dry. Yep.
But yeah, mostly severe storms happen in a different part of the year, but they can happen this time of year. You can get a front move through
So it
with a
doesn't
strong storm.
doesn't need to be a huge storm. It just needs
So
to.
next question: do you have some way to make the rainstorm a thunderstorm? It's tough for me to cause the thunderstorm and also be far enough away from here to help triangulate with the radio equipment.
Storms of that size are incredibly difficult to do with mysteries. I mean, that's covering a lot of zones.
Rick has a universal gadget.
I have a universal gadget might be useful. Would it be possible for Annie to build something that would help generate that sort of weather and then be someplace else when it's
3
working?
a.m. was a long time ago.
Is that when you got up this morning? It was 3 a.m.?
Oh my goodness.
That's
I won't
unfortunate.
bitch
Did you
about
have to
having
get up
woken
then,
at a
or
quarter to
did you just
5.
wake up and couldn't get back to
Got back
sleep?
to sleep.
Yeah, the second option.
The second option, the
Yeah.
unfortunate
I hate that.
option. I mean,
So
I've occasionally had to get up at 3
although
a.m. because I had to do stuff, but ugh.
I might be able to create something, but you are asking for something that creates a rainstorm that can be seen from quite a way away and accurately attacks just one antenna.
Well, we don't actually have to have the lightning hit the antenna.
You
It
just
just
need
has
light.
to claim that it
lightning
did.
storm
Because
for it to
then you
work
could say
plausibly.
plausibly, hey, it
we-
destroyed
we-
it. There was a storm. Everybody saw it. It destroyed the antenna.
Yeah.
And we could always just take a transformer and a generator and zap the antenna with your
Okay,
airship.
I could
And-
probably build something where you could set it off and it would cause that sort of storm.
Yes.
If anyone has other ideas, I'm open. But this is what I've come up
Maybe when it
with.
can.
I can most likely get something cobbled together that will cause a big enough storm that would be reasonable.
And
that quick enough.
I mean, you probably put it on like a raft or something west of the island, and let it sit out there long enough to generate the storm.
Mhm.
Probably should be manned. Probably when it gets stuck babysitting it.
I don't know.
It feels like a workable plan, or most of the pieces of a workable
Yeah.
plan.
Yes, Annie thinks that while it would take a while first to build it and then to have it operate and generate that big of a storm,
Yeah.
she can do that. And she doesn't, she can set it, like I said, on a raft out in the ocean.
You need to use a universal gadget. It'll save a lot of time. That's what they're here for.
I think the universal gadget sounds like a better idea.
Yeah, yes.
As far as time.
If somebody has an unused universal gadget,
I do.
um,
With 2 improvements, and I basically generate the. Well, yeah, I can because of the rule of get past one impediment, basically.
Well, no. You say unbelievable, create lightning storm, and maximization, make it huge. Make the effect huge.
I don't think one maximize would be enough.
maximization. Well, then you would either have to combine it with another universal gadget.
I mean, a maximize would make it city size, but you're
I-
talking entire island size.
Do we need?
So I would say
entire
you'd
island?
need 2 maximizations on it.
That was my question too.
I
Do you need
think
the
that
entire
we could-
island, the
we
storm.
could
Well, that's
do
what-
a city-
what Jack was
I
saying.
understood what Jack. What is?
What you understand why I'm saying that, so it doesn't look like we're zeroing in on this area. Might be suspicious.
Well, plus you want someone who's in a city fairly far away to see the storm.
Still, if the storm came from the west to start with, might it naturally track towards Pillow or Hilo from here?
You have every single direction, Martin. How can you predict where it's going to
Prevailing
go?
winds.
But how can you control the prevailing winds?
No, but you can hold off on okay, let's build it up fast until
Okay,
the wind's from the
Okay,
right
then why don't we
direction.
just use the
Yes.
universal gadget as a double maximization, or we make a gadget that as an amplifier. We do
Oh,
an
I see.
abomination.
Wait until it looks like it's about to storm anyway, and then just
Well-
maximize what the weather's gonna do.
What?
The level of storm you want
Isn't
You-
as likely this
is
time
not
of
very
year,
likely
yeah.
this time of year. You might have to wait a long time
Oh,
to get a severe storm.
We might have to make something then.
So, if I create the weather maker, I could then use the
Gadget.
universal gadget to make it spread over a large enough area.
Double maximization.
Double maximize
Amplifier. Yep.
as amplification the universal gadget, yes.
Okay.
Make it a big amplifier.
Okay. How about a second universal gadget?
That's the way to do it.
So you start with a weather maker universal gadget.
Yes.
Unbelievable. And then you add a second one that does maximization, and now you've got a really big storm.
And
And then-
also,
yes.
The last improvement is giving us some control over it.
Yeah. I mean, you want to direct where it's going.
I want an off switch. I know that's unusual for a mad scientist. But yes, I want.
Wouldn't say that's an improvement. I would say turning it on, you can turn it off.
Okay, so we have a weather maker that
It won't make the storm instantly dissipate, but it would
But
dissipate
won't.
in a normal.
it will
Fashion.
switch back to
Perfectly
being
reasonable.
normal
Yeah.
weather. It'll switch back to normal weather patterns and disperse as
Yes. Yes.
so. A weather maker that gives us some control over where the weather goes.
Yeah.
And then the double maximize. with
Yep.
The second one. Okay.
So mark that down on your universal gadgets that you pull out of your back pocket. I'm not sure how you had a universal, how you had a double maximize a storm gadget, but that's how the game works.
Yep.
well, everyone has one of those.
Yes, of course.
He just had some miscellaneous equipment that Annie figured out how to put together.
Okay, and
I mean,
we are
Batman
calling
has
it
a
for the
utility
night.
belt. You got your, universal gadget belt. Right? Anyone else can think of something else. I'm all for it. But,
No, actually, it sounds like a decent
So
plan.
is it
in
one
its
of
own
mine and
weird
one
way.
of yours, or both of mine?
one of
One of
each.
mine.
Okay.
So you each got one in reserve.
No.
No,
No,
I
he
think
uses
so.
I
Yeah.
am used. If I need my explosive suppressor, I'm SOL.
Yeah.
Eee.
It's called Dodge.
Yeah.
No, it's called turn on the weather maker and hope it blows the crap out of the explosive. That's the only option I've got. in that department.
Well,
You
Turn on the weather maker. Okay.
The weather
What's your
maker
athletics
doesn't
at?
instantly
In a small
make the
space,
weather.
that should
I
be
don't
quite
think.
interesting.
What's your athletics at?
Oh, my athletics, I think it is good.
Good?
Let me check.
You're kidding.
Athletics is only good. Can't have everything at grade superb.
You could take a stock to improve that.
He's kind of.
I've got my development track, and yes, I occasionally diverge from it.
Did JD spend any big points?
He did not.
And the stick of dynamite. can kill
Actually
you.
rolled well for him.
39.
Jack used one.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.